Venus in Taurus, the material comforts of life. What might be going on with the financials, the economy, and it's all about the money, honey. 2026 and your relationship to money based on your sun, your moon, and your rising sign.
Lunatic astrology.
Today's video, we're talking about the actions of Venus moving through her home kingdom of Taurus and colliding for a last-in-a-lifetime rendezvous with the god of sudden, shocking, and surprising change, Uranus. This could change your relationship to money, to love, to peace, to beauty, to harmony, to many of Venus's storylines. We're going to touch on it lightly, as well as how Venus hooks up with Neptune and Pluto in the last 10 days of April, and what this also means in our lives in terms of themes that those planets represent. In this half hour, I'll also bring down the story of how Venus, the goddess of peace, may be operating to try to patch together some solutions to wars in our world during this time. She will stop trying the patch-up job, more in my humble opinion, by the third week of April, but she's doing her damnedest to do it. In today's video, listen to the intro and all about the world and Venus. And then at the very second part of this video, hook up to 2026 and your relationship to money based on your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. That video came out in early January. We're reissuing it because Venus and Taurus is all about the money, honey. And you want to get some handles on that, especially with Algol, a wealth star, involved in our sky this month. Enjoy the rest of this video, and I'll see you on the next ones. In the last 10 days of April 2026, Venus is doing all of the heavy lifting. The goddess of money, love, and beauty is going to be picking up some intensity as she performs a last-in-a-lifetime stunt routine, colliding right into Uranus at the very last degree of her home kingdom, Taurus. At the same time, she forms a end of month sextile to Neptune and trine to Pluto from her new position in the sign of Gemini. In today's video, in the first half an hour, I'm going to introduce you to the idea of this last week or last 10 days of the month of April and some of the ways we might experience it individually and collectively. And I'm also going to add, as a bonus to the end of this half-hour intro, my 2026 money video for each sign. And the reason I'm doing that is Venus in Taurus is about our sensuality and our pleasures of life. It is that bouquet of flowers you're seeing behind me that I have here, daffodils and roses, and way back here, probably can't tell, are my lilies. This is also the goddess of what we wish to possess in terms of material resources when she's in the sign of Taurus. We can possess that which we need in order to enjoy the pleasures and the material comforts of life. And it's so beautiful that I'm wearing today a pearl, which is Venus is about pearls, guys, and also copper. And these gorgeous earrings that I cannot believe, these are made with freshwater pearls. And I got these from one of my followers here on YouTube. She sent me these for free, along with a bracelet and another set of earrings. And I thought to share them because pearls are a girl's best friend. They're all about Venus. When you're talking about copper metal, you're talking about pearls, or you're talking about the color emerald green, you're talking Venus. And just so you know, her brand is Bella Mooncat and Moon Lake Design, and her name is Sanda. And I'm going to put a link to her store for her jewelry in my description box for you, just as a way of thanking her for sending me these with no expectation, just as a gift around the Christmas time season. So there you have it. Now that I've shared the beautiful jewelry that Venus loves, and all my bracelets are, of course, Otter Spirit, and you can find a discount code in any of my underneath my boxes. When you see me wearing all these bracelets, I'm a affiliate and a lover of the Otter Spirit jewelry. All right, so here's the deal. This is what I want you to know. I want you to take a deep breath. Venus wants you to have pleasure. She wants you to have life's enjoyments in Taurus. She wants you to have the financial resources that you need. She wants you to experience the joy and enjoyment of being in a body, your smell, your taste, your textures, the essential parts of reality. Floral, flowers, fragrances, incense, massage, money. So you'll see that this video ends with a huge, long, your sign video that did very well in January about how to handle money based on your sign in this year ahead. Now, Venus is not always in Taurus. She moves around the zodiac. And so we're going to talk about some other things before I tap back into her last in a lifetime Uranus conjunction. And I'll be doing that in a lot deeper dive when it gets to be that week with more detail. But let me talk about what she's doing during the entirety of the month of this Taurus transit. In other words, Venus entered into Taurus on March 30th, 2026, and will leave on April the 23rd and head by the 24th into the next sign over from Taurus, which is Gemini. And during this transit, she has been quite busy, particularly around the 12th of the month, hooking up with Jupiter in a very blessed Venus in her kingdom and Jupiter exalted combination. I'm recording this April the 9th. There's a temporary ceasefire in the Middle East. There's maybe a chance that things could work out there. It's interesting because when when exalted Sun in Aries was squaring Jupiter exalted in Cancer, which just happened around April, just behind me, April 6th, 7th, 8th. That was that standoff where the president of the United States was telling us that we have literally end of a civilization, obliteration, F you beat bastards moment on Twitter. And that if, there wasn't a capitulation and total surrender from Iran, then the world was going to go to hell in a handbasket. Well, that passed. And now we're in a very fragile ceasefire because the wasp nest nation in the Middle East is breaking all the rules as usual. So I'm going to tell you that maybe as I'm recording this on April 9th, and you probably won't get this before then, but looking in the rearview mirror around April the 12th, 13th, when Venus is hooking up in a sextile, I hope I didn't say trine, to Jupiter. I put a video out for you already on that for your sign, that there may be a glorious moment of restoration, of calm or peace. However, because Mars will hit Saturn with Mercury, and that's all in Aries, where the sun of Iran sits, the sun sun, that could also be a backtrack. So we could see a loss of peace, a loss of a fragile ceasefire agreement, which is meant to last 2 weeks, right? I'm recording on April 9th. I think that thing popped out yesterday on April the 8th. And you add 2 weeks. So around the 19th, 20th of the month, there is an intense sky. Let's go back to, and it may not hold as a ceasefire. I doubt it will. When I go back to Venus for you and me, right? When we get to the end of the month and around the 22nd of the month and 23rd, you can feel it. The 20th to the 23rd, she's coming into a collision to Uranus, the god of the unexpected and the god of surprises. And this energy is going to bring a last in a lifetime, unless you're going to live another 84 years kind of vibe, a last in a lifetime Uranus conjunction with Venus in Taurus, where that has been happening since 2019, where Venus kept bumping into Uranus, who entered full-time occupation of Taurus. Taurus is a fixed sign, guys. It's Earth and it's fixed. Fixed like I've got my artwork done and I'm spraying it, so that nothing changes. It holds its place. It doesn't smear. My watercolor painting doesn't smudge, right? Fixative, holding in place, doesn't like change. This is exactly what Uranus is trying to break up. He's like, okay, let's have an earthquake. Still worried about California. Okay, let's crack up the monetary system completely. Well, we started cracking it up with the BRICS nations and new formations of currencies and trading partners. Yes, partly Pluto too. It began to crack up with crypto. Crypto went wild, just crazy balls all the way through 2019 to now. And when Uranus will leave forever, the sign of Taurus, for another 80 odd years, and he'll be leaving on the end of April the 26th. So as Venus is applying to him and coming into his orb of energy around the 20th to the 23rd for a last in a lifetime merger with Uranus, there are going to be money surprises in each of our lives. It will depend on your sign. And so this energy of some unexpected and surprising financial developments in each of our worlds, or maybe some big shakeups in things to do with pleasure, possessions, maybe romantic love, that's more the Libra piece, will happen for each of us. Then what will happen is Venus will continue to move past Uranus, and on the 24th of the month, enter the early degrees of Gemini. So, Uranus moves on the 26th into the sign of Gemini, but Venus catches up and moves in on the 24th, gets there before him. I can do math, gets there before him. They'll never really conjunct in Uranus until next year. So they're just co-present in Uranus and Venus are co-present in Gemini, but not conjuncting in Gemini during this year. It'll be next year you'll see that happen. But when Venus is moving through the early degrees, very early degrees, first 3 degrees, 4 degrees of the sign of Gemini, then she hooks up to a sextile to Neptune, and then she moves into a trine to Pluto. And you'll feel that energy happening from the 26th or so of the month. The connections are being made till about the 28th of the month, where something is trying to happen here. I think for all of us, because I'll be doing a weekly video on that, Venus and Neptune can bring the beauty of our imaginations into form in some way, into some kind of realizable form of Gemini commerce or communication, and our visions for what is beautiful and what is prosperous, as well as Venus trining Pluto, the love of power, the power of love, are very active stories at the end of the month, particularly around the 26th to the 28th or 9th. Now, when I read Ren Butler's Archetypal Universe, a friend of mine and a colleague, and I took his class Archetypal Astrology in 2022, I think, or 22. No, it was fall of 21. I think you will find that what he says about this energy of Uranus, 29 Taurus, anoretic, intense last degree, close to Algol, the star of decapitation, by the way, but also the star of wealth, also wealth magic, right? A Bohemian wealth star, also a star to do with corpses and bodies that are rotting, unfortunately. But Venus is indignant. She's in her home kingdom of Taurus, and she's not likely to bring us rotting bodies. That's not really like what she's going to do, if you ask me. She's more likely, though, to decapitate, if she needs to, people who are of a female nature. So a woman who may be taken out of a position of power, for example. So Tulsi Gabbard has her sun, Mars, I think, and Mercury in Aries, and second house from her sun is her house of employment, earnings, resources, and money, like where she gets her earnings from. And so it may be very much a case that she will be fired or ousted from her job or something like that. We need a female in a position of significant power to be decapitated in some way. That's likely to occur. And I'll cover a lot more depth about this conjunction as we get closer to the week of the 23rd, 24th, because I'll be talking about some asteroids involved and your sign in more depth. But I want you to get ready for this Venusian fueled last 10 days of April, where as she's in her home kingdom, she's doing her very best, to say the least, to bring something good to love, to peace, to money, to pleasure, to material comforts in each of our lives. Now, Ren Butler in the Archetypal Universe, when he pairs Venus and Uranus together, has this to say: relationship breakthroughs, a rebirth of love and friendship, feelings of romantic electricity and excitement, and a colorful and eccentric sense of style and sparkle and fun. But on the shadow side, the difficult part of that story, romantic and social restlessness, cravings for sexual freedom, which prevent a deeper intimacy and disruptive affairs. Oh my God, a shock. And triangle situations, sudden attractions without substance, and aesthetic disharmony. All righty. Now he's got some great quotes from people born with Venus and Uranian stories. So here's one from Mignon McLaughlin, Venus square Uranus. And that quote is: a successful marriage requires falling in love many times, always with the same person. And another quote from someone with Venus opposite Uranus, a difficult angle: age cannot wither her, nor custom stale her infinite variety. And that happens to be Shakespeare. My gut tells me this is more about the money, the currencies, the crypto, the markets. The bull, the sign of Taurus, rules our stock market industry. And money is Algol, the star of wealth. And it's Algol on the sun, like on the solar position of the New York Stock Exchange. Now, while Venus can make something happen that's good, she can also, with Uranus, make something happen that's breakthrough, break down, or break free energy. So we may see some major stock market movements happening. You know, Bitcoin has Venus in Pisces exalted, if I remember correctly, but I'm just warning all of us. It's going to be something about a female decapitation of someone in power. Now, one more thing. There are countries that have a strong Taurus placement. One of them is Israel, because it has its sun around 23 degrees of Taurus. It's not exactly close enough, maybe to the 29-degree conjunction, but it is an orb. And it could also be a major shocking development regarding leadership and governance in the country of Israel because of that decapitation conjunction. Just saying, right? The Greater Israel Project expansion is fueled by Mars conjunct Mars rising in Capricorn. Mars rose in Capricorn, just so you know, in January of 2024. And over the next 2 years, what that indicates is that the fourth house of Israel, the land, the property of the country, will be rising, which means growing and expanding, which has happened. West Bank, Golan Heights, Syria, Lebanon, right? So that's been happening since 2024. However, and I'm bringing this up because I'm talking about that conjunction of Venus and Uranus near the sun of Israel. However, Mars died in the heart of the sun on January the 9th in the Capricorn sky. And that is not a good story. That is like a closure or a constriction or an ending or difficulty in land expansion projects in the Middle East from the little wasp nest nation that doesn't like any of its neighbors and wants to take everybody's land. And then they'll have a big project called the Greater I Project, and they'll be getting God's blessings for the deed that God gave them 5,000 years ago. Who knows? But I'm just telling you, even though we're all worried about the expansion of that country and it seems inevitable and we're all depressed, because if you don't have a heart and you don't have a soul, the things they're doing are basically war crimes and murderous and evil. Well, you'll find that you can unsubscribe. You'll find that because Mars died in Capricorn, conversely, like he rose 2 years before and there was expansion of land grabs, because he died in Capricorn, it's the end of that story for that country. Okay, so I'm giving you some reassurance here. I hope that helps. And finally, before we go into your sign and money for 2024, and I'll reissue the love for 2024 video as well, perhaps in the fall or in the summer, because what I want to say before we continue and finish up here, and you get to watch that video recording on the 9th. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit notification bell, and join me on my Divine Timing Masterclass in May. 5 weekends. You can take individual modules or the whole 5 weeks with me for a live course. Look in the description box below to grab that. We start on May the 2nd. But what I wanted to say to you guys more than anything else is Libra is about one-on-one balance of harmony, peace, and love. And when Venus is trying to create peace in the world, she needs the Libra archetype, the balance of scales of justice, scales of commerce, and also a relationship one-on-one, like marriage balance, Libra. And Libra energy will be good and alive on steroids as we move through this year, because she moves Venus into her home Libra kingdom on August the 6th to September the 9th. Okay, August 6th to September 9th, we get that balance of the scales and we may see some peace in the world. But on October 3rd from Scorpio, she retrogrades backwards and then ends up back in her home kingdom from October 25th to December 4th. So keep that in mind, that August the 6th to September 9th, and then October 25th to December 4th, Venus is twice this year in her home Libra kingdom. And because of that, when we talk about peace in places of conflict and the stock market and commerce trying to find its balance, because it's going to be really rocky until then, we're looking to openings August the 6th to September 9th and October 25th to December 25th. Therefore, probably in late July, I'll reissue my All Signs Love Forecast for your sign, but that's already on my channel, and you can find that in the playlist of 2026 Big Deal Transits. I think that's where I put it. Alrighty, so go ahead and enjoy the story of your money, your sign, 2026, where we cover some of the stories that may happen, of course, initiated by Venus herself, but sometimes in that video, also, we look to Lord Jupiter for financial bounty, prosperity, and luck, and the North Node of increase as well. So go listen for your sign, enjoy that video. It's already been put out, but you might not have seen it. And in the meantime, as I record on April the 9th, may we live in a world in which there's no major catastrophic devastation through an armament that can cause radiation. Let's pray. It's all about the money, honey, in 2026. In today's video, I'm going to go through every single sign and give you some astrological tips about your finances in the year of 2026. And we're going to take that as a kind of playful look at finances for you. I've already done the love story version, love and relationships. Go check that video out for your sun, moon, and rising. And one thing I want to say is that I'm not a financial astrologer giving you personal advice, nor am I your financial advisor. Entertainment purposes only. Do not listen to me to make big decisions, but I can give you a kind of weather forecast for your money based on your sign. And hopefully that makes your year a little easier, a little more predictable, and you can navigate your finances with a little bit of an inside astrological edge. Now, I did a wonderful interview with a financial astrologer, Krisztina Simon of the urbanwitch.org that I put out back in December. I think just for the overview of astrology and money in 2026 for the collective market timing trends, what's likely to happen with currencies, I'm going to add that video here. I'm going to add that video to the end of the all signs. Now, I think if anybody wants the macro view of world events and world astrology, especially markets, timing, trading, then you can go watch that at the end of the all signs. She's an expert. I'll put that segment of our interview into the actual back end of this video. So after the all signs, and there's timestamps here, go watch it. If that's your cup of tea, find out more from an expert on the markets. In the meantime, what we're doing here today is we're talking about signage. Now, here's what I want to tell you. Welcome, by the way. Hi, my name is Lori Lothian. I'm a Western tropical zodiac astrologer, and today's video is for all signs, of course, individually, but let me tell you what I feel. If you're listening for money stuff, it's probably for 80% of you going to attract a little bit more cleanly with your ascendant or rising sign. In order to determine a rising sign, you need a time of birth. And you'll find that I have a free tutorial, how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. You'll need that for my timing tools today. Don't look at your Placidus chart. Whole sign houses, ancient timing tool. It works. Time lords and all of that. And if you know your birth time, you'll have your birth chart, and the ascendant, you'll be able to see that on the newly cast chart. That free video tutorial is in my description box underneath the video. But you can also use your sun sign, especially if you're over the age of 44 on average, or you're under the age of 7, because the sun is your eternal nature, your spirit, and it's very focused in life often on matters of one's purpose for being in a body, your purpose for being in an incarnational state. And when we are little, the first 7 years, we often express solar energy very aptly. I'm an Aries sun. I was a big show off, bold, daring, reckless little girl. Then my Aquarius rising took over after the age of 6 when I went to kindergarten, 5, 6, and I became more dour, stern, quiet, shy, and I acted more Aquarian, more logical and Spock-like. When we are in our mid 40s, we're going to have passageway, so 42 to 45, we're going to go through a journey in which Saturn is opposite Saturn for the second time in our life. All right, I'll be teaching a class on this one day. Second Saturn opposition is the doorway to your solar energy or to your spirit. And we all have the same doorway. Whether you take the door and open it or walk through it, or you just let it stay ajar is up to you. But that's why in India, they have sadhanas and spiritual quests. You raise the kids, you make the money, you've been a householder, you've had kids, and maybe kids are having grandkids, and now you're finding truth, God, meaning, and purpose in life. The third part of life, right, is from 60 to 90. But energetically, the door begins to creak open in the mid 40s to finding purpose. And it's even opposite the Uranus opposition, which shakes up the stagnation around the age of 39 to 42 if we're stuck in life. So I'm giving you the idea today to listen for your rising sign, your simulation avatar in the matrix, okay? The character you're playing, and it's your body. And then listen to your sun next. And some of you try listening for your moon. Let me know how it goes. Moon is how you feel and think. It's the mind, but it also represents your domicile and home. All right. So there's ways to listen. But I think if I was listening, I'd be listening for my ascendant. And then I'd be listening for my sun. If I was older than mid 40s and I'm tuned into my spiritual energy. Alrighty, let's get rolling. Now, if you want to time your 2026, time your best life for the year, check out my individual 2 to 2.5 hour videos. They're in the description box below, where I've completely gone through what you need to know for your sign. And as well, I have a 26-page PDF guidebook that goes with that content that is for sale. It's still on the sale price throughout to the end of February. Check it out. You can get that video content, that audio content. It's downloadable as well as the PDF guidebook to help you get through the year ahead. And if you want to learn astrology at a more intermediate level, we're going to do my Divine Timing Masterclass for 4 weeks live with me in April. You can get on the wait list and the early bird discount notice for when I open the enrollment in the description box below. Now let's get talking about your sign, guys. Just so you know, where does money come from in the chart? It can come from any place. Any place, but the main money house is the second house. It is the house of one's earned income, resources, and food, shelter, water, security measures that keep you alive on the basic Maslow's pyramid of needs. Okay. It is going to move up towards the ascendant. So it's like the spoon that feeds the character in the simulation and keeps you alive. So we need to know that the most important money house is usually the second house. Second house is next to the eighth house, chunky money, inheritances, shared spousal resources, investments, maybe sometimes in the markets, but also money that comes in a chunk that you didn't earn and you share with others. It's unearned income, it's shared resources, etc. We can also get money from the 12th house, digital income, borderless revenue, international trade, making money from foreigners or by living in a foreign land. We can also get money from the 4th house. It could be legacy wealth, family of origin money passing down to you or over to you through bequeathment. We can get money from the sale of the house through the 5th house. We can also win the lottery through the 5th house. We get direct financial gains and earnings, including windfalls from the 11th house. So there's not just one place in our chart that money can come from. So as we go through today's video, I'll be focusing on the most important thing I'm seeing for your sign as a general principle in 2026 and giving you some tips, including perhaps some general ideas of timing, like steer clear of risky investments here. But I'm not a financial astrologer, nor am I a financial advisor. And I disclose over and over again that this is for your entertainment. That way you can't sue me for making financial decisions that are really not wise based on general astrology. You know, I've had comments over the years here on this channel where somebody has said to me, you lied to me. You lied to me. I lied to you. I didn't win the lottery. Like you said, Caps were going to win the lottery. I'm like, guys, not to be dismissive. If I sound gnarly, you're hearing my Aquarius rising. I want to draw a picture for you. Okay. Let me get a big marker with some color. I'm going to draw a picture and I want to explain about how astrology works on YouTube. Okay. Besides the fact that every astrologer on YouTube must treat this as if we are using a whole sign house system in order to make general delineations, which is why if you're listening for Placidus, you're confused not just with my channel, but with other people's channels. This is called a bell curve. What is a bell curve? It's a statistical curve of averages and likelihoods. 90% of people over the age of 90 will die within 2 years or something. Likelihood is up here. And then there's outliers, right? Outliers, edges, far ends of the bell curve. And as we get down to population dimensions, let's say this is a section for 50% of the population will have an illness after the age of 60 that threatens their life. I'm making shit up, right? Then that's this section. Then we get these little outlier windows like this, right? When you're listening to general bell curve astrology on my channel, I'm saying Aries, sun, moon, and rising. We're looking for statistical averages in the middle of the top of the bell curve, the 50% part of it, right? 50% of Aries will experience this. And why doesn't it work for everybody? Because let's imagine that you're an Aries rising, but you're born with Mars in Libra debilitated, or Mars fallen in the sign of his fall, which is Cancer. Then the way your life works is a little bit different than just average Aries. This is where astrological nuance, layers of the onion, and depth matter. But still, as a principle, you'll find it useful and accurate. And that's why channels like this do well. Okay, so there's my Spock-like Aquarius speaking to you. I'm going to go ahead now and bring you into the chart. We're going to go through all signs and we will start with Aries. I'm going to do my best to cover everything available. You know, I may miss something. I'm not going to be perfect. I did get a very, very angry woman emailing me that I blew off the Taurus rising on the love scopes because I didn't address the Venus star point in the end of October. And it's true, I didn't, but partly because that Venus star point making changes in the life of a Taurus rising for love isn't really going to take effect until the next year, 2027. We need Venus to come up from underneath the beams of the sun, become visible, and begin to execute a 10-month story. So don't be angry if you think I missed something. That the exchange was actually quite psychotic. Okay, or weird. Okay, it was an ongoing, kind of vibe, and I like didn't know how to deal with it. I gifted her my 2026 All Signs bundle just to say, sorry, you're so upset. And what would you have had me do? But I didn't think it was the most important story because it doesn't really get its juice and mojo going until the end of the year, actually really activating in 27. I want to say something about that. And that aside, I could have included it. I should have mentioned that's coming in 27. So I'm not perfect. What you're going to experience financially based on general bell curve astrology for the rising signs, most likely accurate more so. And sun signs, if you're over 43, 44, 45, you begin to tune into the second Saturn opposition, then you might notice that you are more aligned with solar energy in these astrology forecasts. All right, so we're starting with I am recording, good. Aries, sun, moon, rising. Let's go Aries rising and sun especially. And I have a sun in Aries, so I am one of you. And our main money house that we derive income and resources from is always the second house of where the most money comes to us from. And as we begin this year, we're noticing that we have Uranus, who's going to station in February around the 4th and return to direct motion on a wealth star called Algol. So there is a bit of wealth here that could show up for you as he goes direct through to that stationary time, even as he approaches the turnaround, the early part, the first few days of February through to April the 26th, 7th, as he's moving forward in direct motion in your directly in your earnings and resources and earned income and pocketbook second house. Now, this wealth star also brings calamity sometimes, like off with your head. You could lose your head over something. You could get angry at somebody, but that's not what you could have a catalytic terror, moment, but it's not really, it's your house of speech, right? And this is where you could be angry at someone to speak like crazy ass, right? You want to be careful for that. But he goes direct on the 4th of February. And as he moves direct on February 4th and through to the 3rd week of April, after stationing on Algol, which can be a star for wealth, you might encounter some significant feelings of windfalls or pennies from heaven or great gains. Now, that sounds like I'm offering you a pie in the sky outcome. I get it. But you'll notice that Venus is in the house of windfalls. Let's take her all the way through to February 4th. And he stations direct. And there's Venus. This is the 11th house of pennies from heaven. It's a house of career gains. So you may have an unexpected lush up of financial success connected to career, to celebrity, to large influence over groups of people. Maybe something is going to go viral that you've spoken about, but whatever it is, it looks like money could happen here. So we have a nice vibe, February 4th-ish through to the end of April for coming into a sense of, and it lasts all the way through to the end of April, baking in the Venus support structure, even though it's a square, for exciting, unexpected sources of chunks, windfall vibes, or great money gains specifically connected to your career. Now, in Jupiter's storyline coming up this year, Jupiter will enter into Leo, and the North Node, of course, will be up here as we begin an eclipse season. So specifically, when the North Node of amplitude enters the career gains and pennies from heaven and windfalls 11th house, and the South Node enters this same spot at the end of the month of July, well, Jupiter has also entered into the 5th house of good fortune, where we can win money or feel like, a lottery win, a casino win, a bingo hall, gambling, gaming, speculative gains, and money wins and luck. This is another time frame for you. Now, this time frame of Jupiter entering your 5th house, when we're talking about lucky money breaks and the North Node amplitude of the 11th, isn't just about, let's say, August of this year. It will last about a year. It will last until the end of June next year, 2027. And so look for this to be a long game of good fortune around money, beginning basically in the month of August of this year. And we're going to have a lot of energy funneling through what is one of the most fortunate parts of the chart and can involve windfalls, pennies from heaven, money, luck, especially risky gaming, gambling, and speculation. Before then, don't take a risk because we don't have Jupiter's support. If you own property and you want to make money from the sale of a property, when Jupiter is in the 5th house, it represents the gains of the 4th, and you might, by selling property, win or feel like you won the lottery. got more for the sale of a property than you thought you'd get, although the South Node could indicate it's also not as luscious as you wanted. The best time to win at selling a property and getting money from property sales is before the South Node enters into Leo. So your best month to do this is the whole month of July. Okay, then you could have a windfall, pennies from having house sale extravaganza. Now, we do have inheritances that come and spousal support monies from the 8th house. And on October 24th, Venus will star point here. She last did this 8 years earlier, around the same time of year. Go back to 2018 when she star pointed in Scorpio. Did you have something in 2018, probably within 10 months, that felt a little bit luscious in windfall land? And it could have gone all the way through until you could have felt it all the way through to the fall even of 2019, and some money from a spouse, right? So for example, I separated from my partner. I'm an Aries sun moon, and I separated from my partner, and we didn't do spousal separation agreements, but I asked him to split the costs of my move to Montreal, and he did. So I got money from a spouse, money from in-laws, money from inheritances, money from unexpected chunks at, tax rebates or insurance payouts. And so that Venus story could open up a door on the 18th of the month, on the 24th of October, at about a year. Okay, so let me know how that goes for you. Usually closer to 10 months, at about 10 months. Those are 3 things I'm seeing for you. Let's move on to the next sign. Don't forget, this is supposed to be fun. This is not like financial advice. So we covered 8th house, 5th house, 11th house, and 2nd house sources of money. Now we're going to talk about the next sign, and the next sign will be Taurus, the sign of the bull, ruled by Venus, the money goddess herself. One of the things that will happen in this year ahead is Uranus will enter into your 2nd house of earned income. Now it's going to be a 7-year story. So till 2000 and whatever 7 years is from 26. And in that regard, it's honestly not something that you want to think about just this year. But I've seen rags to riches with this, with my clients, with famous people. And so when Uranus enters here in April, there may be a beginning of a pattern of, you can go riches to rags and rags to riches. So be careful. There'll be more of an erratic staccato nature to the money that you are able to put in savings or pocket or put into your wallet kind of thing, or earn. And, other signs have gone through this radical up and down energy before you. And those will be your Aries sun, moon, and rising people. So as an Aries moon and sun, I hit rock bottom. Okay. So I've had a lot of money. Then I had, like in 2018, 19 to 22, I hit the bottom. And then now I'm surged back up to where a little bit getting closer to where I was before things fell apart. So you can see this kind of erratic energy, or you can come into sudden bursts of money, like kaboom, Shazam, and you're like, oh my God, that's so crazy ass. Look at the money I just got. So it'll be that kind of staccato money earning story. And it begins the 3rd week of April, around the 26th, 27th, and it's going to last again for 7 years. But be aware of that new pattern regarding money. It's like you could make a lot of money, then stop, then make no money, then make and lose some money, and then make money back. So get ready for that vibe. If you're somebody who works on the internet, this is great. If you don't work on the internet, because the World Wide Web is a Uranian feature, you couldn't make money on the internet, right? So I started my YouTube channel in 2019 during the Aries version of this. So you can make money through digital income, borderless revenue a bit too, because of the sextile to your 12th house. So it can give you Uranian, inventive, outside the box ways to make money for sure. There's no doubt about it. Now, one of the things that could occur here in terms of other money stories that unfold during this year ahead, right? When we look at the other options, is that you're still getting North Node amplitude in the house of windfalls or career gains and money directly from your career all the way through to the end of July. And that'll indicate that the eclipse that's occurring on February 17th here at 28 degrees of Aquarius, adding it to the amplitude of volume up your earnings and gains from your career, could indicate a surge of career earning gains and resources. And it could be everything from just more money or to getting your dream job so you can get some money, but money from career surging in a higher destined amplitude from the solar eclipse in Aquarius on February the 17th. That eclipse will be in play. You'll feel the vibe up to a month before, and then you'll feel it sort of surging through the next 6 months afterward. So you will experience that way of greater career gains, greater career success, leading to an volume up on the gains or the earnings directly derived from the 10th house, because the 11th house is second house from the 10th. It represents the gains of your 10th house. Okay. So hallelujah. Does that not excite you? It's a good story for you. And if you are anything to do with jobs here, there could be eclipse. This means quit a job, change a job, new job, change in job description, but it should be all changes that can increase your worldly success financially connected to your career. So now we've covered 2 stories for you. And as I look at the chart, I'm going to make sure I don't miss anything and be trolled out. Possibly the energy, because you are Venus ruled, and Venus will do a star point in your 7th house in October. And while the star point itself, I wouldn't say is really about money. It's about significant long-term committed love relationship. Okay. But Venus is the Lord of your sign, and she does an exaltation trick on your gains of your career house as she star points here. And although when we get to October, the North Node will no longer be here, it could mean that you could benefit financially through matters connected to work. She rules your work house, and reset buttons regarding how you approach your public, your audience, and your marketplace. Now, not all of us, you work in a mine shaft. You don't have a public and audience in a marketplace. But if you serve the public in any way, and that is a part of your wheelhouse for work, then there may be a surge of income from livelihood connected to the star point here. And if you're somebody who works in that kind of endeavor, serving the public, being interfacing with people, clients, customers, marketplace, audience, fans, this is something that happened back in 2018, same time of year, October. And over the course of about a year, you might have seen a surge of success in how you handled money and livelihood matters coming from 7th house stories, right? How you serve the others, coming into new contractual business agreements and alliances, and feeling better about the money, interfacing with customers and clients, and increasing your career gains because of it financially. So those are some things that could really serve you at this time. Now, sometimes, but not always, I'll finish up. Jupiter moving through your 4th house midway through this year. Okay, midway through this year, starting on the 30th of June and out a year, can bring legacy wealth. It can bring money from some inheritance storylines in the sky for you, from your chart. And it's true for everybody, more so for you. And that's because money from your family of origin, your upline, grandparents, parents, mother, dad, whatever, that is because Jupiter rules your house of inheritance. So if you're in line for a bequeathment, many of you won't be, but an eldering parent or grandparent could deliver money to you starting June 30th. The money could show up at a year. Okay, so those are some stories for Tauruses. I hope that helps. All right, Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. I hope you're having fun on the love scopes. And at the intro, I said probably Rising sign first and then Sun. Listen to the intro to understand why. Go to the back end if you don't want to miss the Krisztina Simon World Astrology, overview as well. Now, in your story as a Gemini, right? Mercury is the Lord of your sign, and he's very much about mercantile, marketing, selling, market, stock market. So you have to keep in mind that Mercury has just life sway over who you are. He's your guy. So that said, let's talk about the sky in the year ahead. As we begin the year, and this started last summer, halfway through the year, Jupiter has been moving through your 2nd house, and he's still there. And he will be here in the earnings, resources, and money house all the way through until June 30th. And you're saying, I always say he lays golden money eggs here, and they're going to hatch in the next year after that. But that said, he still also increases your resources, savings, pocketbook, earnings, and wallet when he's here. He does. He just always does. And you're going, oh, it's been a dud. Now I have a progressed sun in Gemini for career matters, so I can explain something to you. When he began the ingress last summer, halfway through the year, June, he was in a square to Saturn, which was holding him back. It's like putting a let me rain on your money parade vibe going on. And in my YouTube channel and in my growth of my YouTube channel, I would say like the summer really sucked for earnings, for example. It really was dampened down for some reason. And, so Jupiter wasn't able to do his best job. And then the dude went retrograde in the fall. Can't remember the exact date. Let's say it was October. And he goes direct This is where this is the punchline. He goes direct. He goes direct on March 11th. But he's already still unencumbered by the square to Saturn. So you might have noticed financial matters picking up as he got out of the Saturn square this fall. And now he will go direct in March. And so look for your money, earnings, resources, wallet, pocketbook, savings increase, especially fast moving increase, because he'll be getting really fast moving energy going, speeding back up again. So he starts to grind slowly on March 11th to turn around. But and then as he gets through from March 11th at 15 degrees on this dog star Sirius, a powerful, positive, good fortune star, as he turns around there on the 11th, then you go into May and June, and he's speeding up. So look for May and June, April, May, and June to be increasingly profitable in your life if you're doing things right. And it has only been since the last time Jupiter was in Cancer, trining the North Node in your career space for worldly success and increase was in 1894. So this is like a very beautiful opportunity for the Geminis to increase their success in their career. I have a guy friend who just got up leveled. His name is Robert, to International Director of Global Sales, or some big title in the company he works for. And, that's exactly the rare event of Jupiter in the earnings, loving up the expansion of your 10th house. I'm sure he got a promotion or a raise. Shout out to Robert. And, in my view, you're just going to get more and more yum here all the way through to from March 11th in particular through to June the 30th. So get ready for even more exciting financial and professional advancement and increase in your earnings, resources, and savings, and all of that earned income is on the up level. Another story to be aware of is what I call the chunky money story. Back on the 9th of January, Mars reset a button, and on the 6th of January, Venus in your chunky money house. Now, for some of you, that could just send you down a rabbit hole of the occult mysteries. Right. But otherwise, in the money house here, Mars and Venus did a reset button. And it's not about January 6th, and it's certainly not about January 9th. Mars gives it a 2-year run. So go January 9th, add 2 years. Venus says January 9th, add about 10 months. And what are these two planets operating on? Money that you are not earning directly or that you share with another person. So shared resource finances or unearned income. So it is an inheritance house, for example. And you do have the South Node of loss through the family of origin. So if you have an eldering parent, or even in this case, sibling, there may be some bequeathment money coming to you in the next couple of years. Another thing I can open up about that could be is divorce settlement monies come out of the 8th house, because it's the shared resources with your in-laws, by the way, or your partner. So money from inheritances from in-laws, money from shared resources and separation agreements with your spouse. Those are things that can occur here in this reset button of Mars resetting with Venus, your 8th house of chunky money. Now, Venus is the ruler of your house of good fortune, which is positive, right? And then Mars rules your house of sense of windfall. So even if it is as like, okay, no one wants to get a windfall because, your mother-in-law died or because you're separating in a divorce, but you should be coming out on top, no matter which way the money dice is rolling, okay? And so there's a big story in the chunky money house that's playing out here for you. One of the ways you could also get some chunky money is investments. Sometimes when we invest in money, it comes off the 12th house, 8th house story. Venus rules your 12th house. So I would say that possibly you can also get some really big gambles in playing the stock market and having some success from Venus. But you also see the other themes here as well. So keep your eye on the ball. Don't be too risky, right? Know your limit and play within the gambling of the stock market game. You're going to have a stellium in the 11th house in April. There could be a lot going on in the month of April where, because of like a planetary pile up, you're going to be working really hard. Mars will be here with Saturn, could be burning out and hitting a wall, right? And that's your career earnings. So if I gave you advice about money, but Mars here would just be working hard, but Saturn says hitting the wall. So be really careful. Like it's like the earned money from your career and hitting some kind of feeling of stall. Like you're burnt. You might just be burning out. It would be a good time to reflect on, how much money is too much money or how much do you really need as you charge ahead making money in your career in April and maybe feel like, oh my God, I'm so depleted. So watch out for that. That could be it could be a narrative. It may not be a narrative. It could be a narrative. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, Get ready to get rich. Get ready to get rich. Why? Because you have Jupiter moving into your second house. Go talk to people who went through it. That's your Gemini rising sun, maybe moon. Those people already had Jupiter in their second house. But by the time when you get to June 30th of this year, Jupiter moves into your second house, just as it did for the Geminis. And so if you have Gemini friends, go ask them how this journey through increase of earned income, wallet, savings, resources, food, shelter, water, monies to survive, assets that you need, possessions you need to survive, a house, a car to drive to work. Those things were on the up level for Geminis. Now they're on the up level for you. Starting on June the 30th of this year, add 12 months. When you see that kind of up level of Jupiter in your second house, you can count on some increase in your financial well-being. And it's pretty well a guarantee. Something good is trying to happen to your money story, the money you make in particular. And as Jupiter is moving through there and giving you that goodness, right? Well, he's able to do that. He's also accompanied by eclipses. Your most lucky money month of the whole of the year is the entirety of July, because you have yet to encounter the South Node here. So just in terms of like feeling like, wow, money feels good right now. Earnings are great right now. Kind of loving the month of July. Then the South Node will enter with Jupiter and be there also for a long time, 18 months. So through till mid next summer, Jupiter South Node can indicate a kind of a weird combination of hot water and cold water becoming lukewarm. It could also indicate a letting go, releasing and surrendering of making money in a particular manner. Let's say you've always worked as a dental hygienist, and now you want to work as a sculptor, like you could make a surrender of earnings mechanism to move to something new and let go of the type of ways that you acquire money. But you also might also let go of just the whole idea of making money. You might decide that's not for you. Why? Well, you're going to have an eclipse in the house of chunky money, including inheritances. You're going to have eclipses in 27, but the first one in 2026, February the 1st at 28 degrees. Now, if there's chunky money coming to you, like, oh my God, I don't need to work. I got all this money. Book royalty income, money from a sibling too older saying, here, have some money from people who are spiritual, ninth house, right? Money increase, volume up, money from court cases and legal wins or court dispensations financially coming into some money. Now, if you do, then if it's enough, you say, oh, I'm not going to need to work anymore. That's great. But that's the kind of thing that eclipses could bring. And this kind of stellium here hasn't happened since 1994. Okay. And we have a Leo moon on February 1st that activates the whole money axis. Then we have an eclipse here, February 17th. And then we have an eclipse here in your second house of money. Again, total solar eclipse in the summer at 20 Leo. On August 12th. All I can say, the biggest story for you is you're changing dramatically the way that money comes to you. You could get also derivative income like royalty income, but there's big destined changes in the way you earn money. And that can include a bequeathment because Venus rules the fourth house that could come from your family of origin. So there may be that kind of trickle down legacy wealth coming your way as well. I'm not promising you a rose garden. This is general bell curve astrology, but because you start off the year through to the third week of April with Uranus here, and Uranus bakes in energetics for that eclipse and that Leo new moon, you could come into what you think is a windfall. It feels like pennies from heaven. It doesn't have to literally be windfalls, but it can feel like a shocking sudden amount of money likely to show up from February the 1st, add 6 months, and you might sort of retire out of some kind of money-making endeavor. Not forever, maybe, but for a while. Possibly money from the in-laws as well could come through this kind of a sky, if you have in-laws. So the other thing to pay attention to in your, amazing sky here is that you are going to experience the energy of the North Node. No, I want to talk about something else. The energy of Algol, well star, turn around February the 4th of Uranus, anywhere near February 4th in particular, but it could unfold through to his ingress into the next sign, which is April 26th. So February 3rd, 4th to April 26th, well star, shocking surprises, unexpected surge of money coming to you from an elder sibling, one above you, just one older, unexpected surge of financial wellness coming from some unexpected windfall or some pennies from the heavens, or an unexpected surge of wellness coming through a career matter, something you're doing in the work and career space. All are very possible. The last thing I'm going to mention in the money story for you is that Venus is going to star point in your 5th house of good fortune. It includes money wins, but that's not till October the 24th. And you won't see a lot of the juice from that until most of 2027. But he could also bring you financial success or gains through a sibling too younger, from a child of yours, or financial gains and surges money-wise through creative artistic expression or entrepreneurial business enterprise. And that begins to heat up in October, but the major outpicture of it is going to be in the first 7 months of 2027. That star point in your 5th house happened in 2018, October. So what happened then through to like late 2019, like let's say the fall of 2019 even, what kind of money surges may have felt very fortunate from the areas I've just described to you, if any. It's a long shot. It's happening at 0 degrees of Scorpio, and it won't be back again in your lifetime in that place. Finish strong. If you like this kind of content with guidance for your sign, would you hit the like button? Thank you, guys. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. Don't forget to listen to Krisztina at the back end about world astrology and finances in 26. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, first of all, you're going to experience Jupiter moving out of your 12th house. That could have increased your expenditures. You have investments sometimes here, but also expenses. And there is a cove that you should have done, but you still have half a year to do it. So through until the middle of the year, until June 30th, you might feel like you're having to spend more money than you want. Maybe you need a new furnace. Maybe you need to build a new basement in your home. Maybe money for your kids is going out of your pocket. Just money, that expenditures. And the solution is charitability. You can, the next 6 months of the year through to June 30th, find ways to charitably give to other people. Even just the homeless guy in the street. Don't walk by. Find ways to do the charitable thing with your money. You can even set up a charity. Give every month to Doctors Without Borders $10. Find a charity, because charity is the cure for the expenses increasing in your 2nd house. It's a hack. Use it. When Jupiter moves, and you can make money with Jupiter here, digital income, borderless revenue, working online, working for a foreign company, working, the online world allows for borderless income. So that could be a plus for Leos. But then Jupiter will move into your sign on like the end of June, June 30th. And now it's no longer true. Now there's a whole new story. You're just going to be lucky for a year, but that's not necessarily lucky in money, just lucky for a year. Okay. You are lucky for a year. The gains of you being spacious, magnanimous, leaderful, performative, and optimistic, right? That's how you're going to feel June 30th out of year. Can spill into the 2nd house. The attitude of you can spill into the 2nd house and begin to increase your financial wellness. Okay, but it's really all about the Leo story. When you get Jupiter in your 2nd house in 2027, midsummer, then we'll talk. Then things really get tracking for more financial success. Now, when Jupiter is in your 1st house, just consider like getting some tokens of luck, a photo of a 4-leaf clover, a rabbit's foot, a horseshoe, whatever means meaningful token of luck is culturally appropriate, and keep that near you, because you do have a handle on the word lucky, right? Beginning on the 30th of this year of June, add 12 months. So may as well use it or lose it. It's only back every 12 years and you want to grab it while it's hot. Now, money, let's go there. You're coming into the Virgo eclipse tail end, right? March the 3rd, Virgo eclipse, around 12 degrees of Virgo. There is a South Node transit through the sign of Virgo. That's why there's an eclipse. let go, release, surrender a type of earning style. If you've always made money one way, the universe wants you to take a chance and let it go. However, you might also have felt like there's a dwindling of your savings or your money or your pocketbook or your resources or your, earned income, or that it is, maybe feeling like it's time to let that source of earned income go and find something new. And that energy on the eclipse, which is a total, like it's a humdinger, I heard that word by a British broadcaster the other day because I've used it all my life. It's got to be a Canadian and British word. I don't think I've ever heard Americans say humdinger. Do you Americans say humdinger? But it's a humdinger eclipse. It's total lunar eclipse. It's sitting smack dab on the south node in your second house. It's a very powerful turning point, illuminating your earnings, money, and savings in an eerie light to reveal to you ways that you want to make destined changes in how you make money. That eclipse is being felt by you, although it is happening on I think March 3rd. You're going to feel it already as we approach the month of February. You're going through the month and feeling that pending eclipse. You're going to make a change, but destined money, earnings, resources, style changes is coming to you. March the 3rd adds 6 months, but you'll have more awareness in the first 3 months after of how the change is likely to unfold. With a north node of increase commensurately voluming up your 8th house, and we have a sense of increase of investment monies, shared resources with a spouse, money that you get from your in-laws, money that you get from inheritances. That is still ongoing until the end of the month of July. But importantly, the eclipse here in Aquarius on February 17th can spill over to a major change in your relationship to a significant person. This is a marriage partnership house, committed long-term cohab, leading to more money. So yes, I'm hinting at divorce or separation agreements, favoring you to increase your net worth in some way. On a very few of you, especially if you're listening to me and you're like little old people, whatever that means to you, then yeah, I'm not going to say that can't be the end of a marriage because there's a widowing and widowerhood thing going on here. I don't know your life, but I'm just going to say money that comes in a chunk connected to in-laws, sure, but spouse and chunky money, increase, volume up, the 28th of the month, eclipse, lasting 6 months for you to see the results of that. And I'm just looking for anything. I don't want to miss anything. Possibly in this kind of a sky, because Venus is the goddess of money. She will star point October 24th in the house of legacy wealth, inheritances, mom, dad, upline, or land, property, and real estate. And as she star points here on the 24th of October, it could indicate that as you move into the new year, particularly the first 7 months of 2027, you may come into some money connected to the property sale, inheritances, land, resources. I want you to go back and think, especially with Jupiter trining your 5th house. So you're going to come into an opportunity there. If you go back to like October of 2018, roll it out about a year. Did you come into any real estate money, legacy wealth money, property related money? Not everyone will have had that. Sale of a property money, but that could have occurred then. It's more likely to happen now with Jupiter midsummer trining the house of gains from real estate, which is your 5th house, than it was back in 2018. So you may sell a property or a family property and a bequeathment, and success and financial up levels may be occurring for some of you. 3rd week of October, but you won't see the results. You won't likely see the results of more money from those things unless we push you through to September at least of 2027. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a year ahead for some money, honey, and the money is going to show up wherever the money shows up, or lack of money wherever the money shows up. So first of all, Virgo, I want you to think about the fact that you have a 2nd house, Venus ruled wallet, pocketbook, savings storyline, that she's got your back. She's your girl. She did a conjunction to the sun that she only does every 4 years in your 5th house of good fortune, winning money. All right. So there's that. Of course, that's a fertility transit for you too. Okay. Did I say your Venus ruled? No, I didn't say it. Just Venus did a star point there. She rules your 2nd house. Can be a fertility transit. So be careful about getting pregnant if you are somebody who could be conceiving a child, because when Venus co-joined here in the month of January, on the 6th, and then you roll out 10 months, there's a pregnancy possibility. So I know a particular Virgo who got knocked up under that transit last time it happened. So it's every 4 years. Okay. So it happened in 2022. It happened in 2018, happened in 2014. So not only does it bring a fertility story, but it brings money if you want to look at it that way. Venus is a ruler of the house of the money you resource by earning it or saving it. And so look to the possibility that there's a kind of a fire pistol starter thing. Venus fired up a Capricorn starter pistol, whatever that looks like, an old-fashioned cannon. And she said, ready, set, go. I'm trying to bring you some luck around money, including winning money, including money from your children, including money from art, creativity, and entrepreneurial endeavors. And you've got a whole year to see it unfold. And Mars did something similar in the same place, exalted on January the 9th. And it's Venus that brings the money, because that's what she does, right, in your chart. But Mars accompanying her doing his own fire starter pistol can also bring you inheritance money as well. So you've got either inheritance money, 8th house money, or earned income resources, luck money coming your way. Thank you to those 2 starter pistols that happened in the house, one of the money houses, the 5th house, in January, on the 6th, on the 9th. Mars is promising it over 2 years, Venus over about a year. I would say by September, Venus, October 24th, Venus is trying to bring you some kind of lucky money breaks. And then, unfortunately, Mars, the starter pistol, can bring money through inheritances from your family of origin, money from father figures, money from your in-laws, money from inheritance from your spouse's partners, your spouse or long-term partner's family of origin, your in-laws, all of that. So there is this kind of energy. Now, if your partner's grandparent is like ancient, you know what I mean, or parent, and like it's just a natural rite of passage, it's not a tragedy. It's just what happens. People pass money along generationally, and generational passage of money to you as a Virgo through your line or your spouse's line can happen during this time. And for the structures of that, it's a 2-year story. So I want you to go January 9th of this year, 26, and I want you to add a couple of years to see that unfold. There's an interesting story playing out in your sky later in the year. So I'm not going to get to that quite yet, because I want to talk about the tail end of Jupiter's transit through your 11th house. And Jupiter entered your house of career gains, raises, promotions, advancements, up levels, recognition, awards in your house of career gains. You have a career in your 10th house. So rewards are Jupiter's purview in the 11th. He entered here last June. He was squaring Saturn for most of the summer. It felt like suck ass. You're like, I'm not feeling the luck up in my career house. No, I don't feel it, anybody. Then he retrograded in the fall. I don't know when. I think it was October. It's been kind of hard for him to show you his stuff, right? To show you his fairy godfather goodness, but you still would have experienced some kind of love up in the 11th house. So my Virgo rising daughter, for example, as this story began to unfold here last year in the summer of 2024, right? Began to get the experience, especially as we rolled into January or December, of a big bonus check at the end of the year, winning the best employee in her division of the whole year. She just started the job a year before that. All the accolades and the rewards of her hard work started to show up. For those of you who have jobs, money coming there, looking good on you. The message I want to deliver is March the 11th through until April the 26th. No, April 11th through to June 30th. April 11th through to June 30th. You're going to experience an increase of gains from your career. Now, some of it could just be a raise, a promotion to a new level, but usually promotions equal more money. So it can be directly more money from your career because you start a new job and it pays more. It could be your dream job, fairy godfather here. But it could also be money because you are changing jobs completely, getting a raise or promotion, being advanced to your company to a higher spot, being loved up by the boss. Who knows? All I can tell you is it looks good on you and you're going to go up and up and up. And look at that stellium in the workhouse here as this year begins. You're like in the month of January, February, this, especially January 23rd to mid-February, there's like a work love up in the stellium in the house of livelihood and work and job. So with the Jupiter increases here, a lot of you will experience something good trying to happen through to June 30th to advance your significant gains directly related financially to your career. Best energies begin March 11th. If you're looking for a new job, changing your job, wait till March 11th to either succeed or apply. We want him in direct motion. He's retrograding. He's deepening your bounty. He's pausing in a way. But March 11th, he turns around and then he starts to move rather quickly for the last 15 degrees of Cancer. Best times to apply for work that's going to increase your salary or gains in your work is going to be, in my opinion, the months of June, well, April, May, June, but I really like the month of May and June. Okay. So see how that goes. Now, the other thing to be aware of here when it comes to financial stories and all of that is that you could look at the Venus star point that occurs in your third house. And that's going to happened last in 2018. The third house is an educational house, a travel house, etc. Online social media, digital income could be here, borderless revenue could be activated, but it really is also another story. It has to do with things to do with the digital world, like marketing and selling, teaching and learning, being social media active. And the star point, in 2018, you might not have activated it for money at all, but in your particular case, you're one of the best signs from that star point to make money online. And that's because Venus rules your money and earnings, and she's going to reset your button here for a potential window of about 10 months. So I want you to think about October 24th, add 10 months or 11 months even, and ask yourself the question, can I make money in new ways connected to writing, teaching, learning, and online stories? Because she's not going to star point in Scorpio again in your lifetime. It is the last in a lifetime. And if you begin an initiative around those things, including entrepreneurial storylines, especially something new, you can be very successful from October 24th financially, October 24th, all right, through until, let's say, September of 2027. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Let's talk about money. Okay. So first of all, this is the money you earn and make and save and resource. This is your second house. Mars is the ruler of your second house, and he's the guy who dominates how you make money, where you make money, why you make money. Well, one thing that's really interesting is this star point. The dude star pointed here, not star pointed, conjunct the sun here on January the 9th. Venus star pointed here beside him on January the 6th. Inheritances. A lot of you Libras could come into inheritance money in the next year. Mars will give you 2 years to unfold it, but Venus says within a year. So I'm going to go with Venus because she rules your house of inheritances. January the 6th through to October 24th, some of you are coming into money through inheritance. Now, it can be money from your spouse's family, but it's most likely your own. And nonetheless, there's money from resources from your family line. Does it have to be inheritance? No, maybe mom or dad say, hey, honey, here's some money. He did give you some money. Sure. Or great Uncle Joe or your grandparent gives you money, a trust fund or bequeathment or whatever. But it is money from the family that you grew up with and your family line that can come through a lot of the charts of a lot of Libras. Now, if you don't have a family of origin that money could come to you from, a parent passing, then maybe conceivably you could get money through property sales. Okay. But more likely for a lot of you, it's going to be a bequeathment of some sort, even if it's just, your eldering dad's, favorite car. It doesn't have to be like a jackpot, but I'm telling you that money should come to most of you in some way from someone in your family upline, probably in your family upline, eldering. Now, because of Saturn's position, not like a young person. Now, the other element I've got going on for you, that's the big story, and that kicked off with Venus's support on January 6th through to October 24th, money coming that way. Okay. Yeah, I like that. But because of Mars, if you're married, and I mean, here comes the bride and groom, I mean legally wed, right? Then you could get money from spousal separation agreements thanks to Mars. Okay. So by breaking up with somebody, ending a relationship, and then money has to be split and property has to be split. Yeah, that can happen, but that's a 2-year story. I want you to take January 9th, add 2 years, and that's where that could happen as well. Let's talk about another possible money story for you guys. Why not? This is a wealth star, Algol. Uranus turns around here February 4th through to April the 27th. It's possible that you're coming into some chunks of money. This is not earned income. This is unearned income. Could be an investment taking off. It could be a chunk of money from an insurance payout. It could be a chunk of money from your in-laws. It could be a chunk of money from an advance on a book. Could be all kinds of chunks of money, but it's not directly dollars for hours. And that chunk of money, Uranus, Algol, surprise shock, well, that happens to turn around on February 4th, and it rolls out its possibilities till April 26th. So we keep seeing similar stories here, a surge of wealth connected to many different things. And that could include selling a property, by the way, and having a surge of wealth unexpectedly. You get more than you thought you were going to get from a property sale in a time when a lot of places have house prices decreasing, right? Apartment prices are going down. And so if you want to sell a property too, that would be good through to about the end of April to get that thing done. Jupiter will enter into your house of good spirit, which is known for windfalls and pennies from heaven, but also directly just more money and success coming from your career and your earnings from your career specifically. And Jupiter enters into your 11th house, and he's going to stick around and be here for a long time, a year, and he'll get there on June 30th, add 12 months. This is a once every 12 year lush up and glow up around career gains, reputation, perks, rewards, and income directly connected to career path. In that regard, if you have a career because you work, you can expect an increase. I'm hot. And it's just like, geez, it must be generating 1,000 kilowatts of energy. And I think that if I was in your shoes, given all what I'm seeing here, and we call that the pennies from heaven story, right up here, windfall vibe. It doesn't have to be, but wow, I can't believe I tripled my income this year in my job. It feels like a windfall. Can't believe they promoted me 2 levels in one scoop, but now I'm making double the money. So that vibe is here. And so the career gains are going to increase. So June 30th, out a year, expect more money to come through your career space and love you up tremendously. I don't see a downside. I really don't. Last but not least, Venus will star point here in your 2nd house of earnings. Venus star point will change the way you make money. She last star pointed in the earnings and money house back in 2018, and this is the last in a lifetime star point at 0 Scorpio on October 24th at about 10 months. As you come to the end of the year and you move into the first 7 months of next year, I would expect you to experience a magical change of direction in how you make money. Go back to 2018 fall to the fall of 2019. Did you get a new job? Did you change an earnings strategy? Did you make money in new ways? Well, Venus will try her best to do that for you. She's the Lord of your sign, give you something new, maybe even more resilient money, chunky money, unearned income could come your way, but there's a change of earning strategy coming through your sky. And Venus is the exaltation Lord of the house of work. You could get a dream job. We're talking about October 24th, add 12 months. Oh, 10 months. Okay. That's your story. And I'm sticking with it. Now, this girl's going to stop the share and she might need a chocolate break. Oh, let's see. I think I'm going to grab a titch of chocolate and I'll be back for the rest of the signs. Hang in there with me, guys. I am not a sponsor, but this is the best chocolate, guys. Can you see that? Hazelnut butter dark chocolate by who? Get back to human. And it's a brother-sister combination out of Italy. And we get this in Canada. It's delicious. And no refined sugar, no cane sugar, no sugar alcohols, no soy and lecithin. It's pretty damn pure, 70% cacao. And the brother and sister on the back, right? So they say, we founded who? To unite ultra simple ingredients with unbeatable taste. I'm going to give them 10 out of 10. So if you like good chocolate, you can get plain dark chocolate with sea salt. I love hazelnut butter. Okay. I am now fortified, usually around Libra. I need a chocolate break. If you guys know my scoop. And all you newbies here, now you just learned something about my channel. This girl has a fixation for having a chocolate snack halfway through the all signs. Let's keep going. I think I'm going rather slow, but I got to cover everything for each sign in case I get trolled by people who are angry that I left out something that didn't need to be included. Okay, Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. But I think rising sign's best. I think you're going to look at this year when it comes to the money story, and you're going to have some unexpected surprises. But we're going to talk about some of the why of the unexpected surprises in a minute. Let me just remind you that Mars is the ruler of your sign. He's your top dog boss dude, right? So things that Mars does influences you tremendously, powerfully, importantly, significantly, and on we go. So as we begin the year, there are eclipses on what can end up looking very much like a money story. And that is because we're going to have an eclipse here on February the 17th in the 4th house of family of origin at 28 degrees. This can indicate money coming to you beginning on February the 28th. No, sorry, February the 17th at 28 degrees of Aquarius, add plus a year, at least, is a solar eclipse. You might come into, in 2026, inheritance money, family of origin money, because that eclipse is a very big deal. And this eclipse occurred in 2008. This eclipse, same place, like same time of year. Also eclipsed in 1990, same time of year, right? January, February. But we didn't have a hybrid eclipse with a North Node in the house of good fortune and in the gains of the house of the family, the issue of the house of the family. This is one of the most strongest cases I've seen in a long time for an inheritance coming your way. Because of this eclipse, it's going to happen here on February the 17th. So it's very probable or possible that you might be coming into some family money as of the February 17th eclipse. Some of it could show up to 5 weeks, 6 weeks before, but mostly after the eclipse on the 17th and at about certainly 6 months, but even up to a year, you may come into family of origin money. Now, I know you don't have anyone to inherit money from. That's fine. Some of you won't. Some of you could sell a property that you own and also create money in the next year as a source of income that's destined and fated and positive and increases your wealth as well. Both of those are true. And not everyone will have either of those. Central bell curve astrology. Remember that. The energy of the North Node in the house of not windfalls, in the house of winning a lottery ticket, going to the casino, having a gamble, could open up doors this year as well for you to increase your financial success. And the last time that this happened, while Jupiter was trining the North Node, was in 1894. And Jupiter trining the North Node from the very lucky 9th house as well. So between lucky 5th and lucky 9th house, there's a possibility of coming into money luck, just randomly, winning a ticket or winning a gamble. But also this is one of the father figure houses. This is Vedic astrology, father figure, Jupiter wealth, money. Again, if you're going to come into inheritance, it's most likely father figure related rather than anything else. So it can be grandparents, great uncles, whatever, and potentially coming into that money this year. It's also possible that your significant other could come into money. All right. That's just because wealth star Algol, February the 4th to April the 27th in the house of significant other, right? Your long-term committed love partner, if you have one. And that could indicate something coming up in their lives where they're going to have a surge of unexpected wealth. Hopefully they don't lose their head and scream at you, because that's another thing. I want out of here. I'm done with you. But this is going to be February the 4th, add several weeks till the end of April. And there may be some unexpected surge in the life of a significant other that you can share the resources with. Those are both true. Also, let's continue onward so that I don't miss anything. So once Jupiter enters into your 10th house on June the 30th, and trines your earnings house and trines your work house, it can indicate the beginning of a period that's going to last about 2 years, actually, but you'll start to feel it June 30th through to summer of 27. Then you get another good year, the year after that, of increase of success connected to your career. Some of it could be, promotions and raises and more affluence and popularity and influence, but some of it can just be money. You're going to be more lucky in getting jobs, and more lucky in succeeding in the job you have, more glow up on the material resources of the 2nd, 6th, and 10th, which connect money to earnings methods, particularly work, job, livelihood, career. So that's getting a nice glow up on June the 30th. And to use that properly, Scorpios, it's also good to say, wow, Jupiter's in my 10th house for a whole darn year. What am I going to do with that? You're going to leap and the net will appear. Jupiter is going to make you fortunate. So you can leave your job if you're not wanting there to stay there and find something better, something more amazing June the 30th onward. Jupiter is benefic and leaderful, but there is also going to be the South Node with him in the 10th house. And that could also be Jupiter's hot water and the South Node is cold water, and you get lukewarm water. So be careful then. If I'm talking about career luck connected to money and earnings, your best window of time is the entirety of the month of July, where you have both Jupiter in your 10th house and the South Node has yet to enter backing up into your 10th house. So great time to apply for jobs, ask for raises, get promotions, whatever, to increase your success financially in your work is the month of July. It might just happen naturally anyway. Then in the month of August, we get the South Node there as well. Now, this is an interesting time because Jupiter, South Node means to deplete or take attention away or pull the plug. And Jupiter represents children. And I'm laughing because, of course, my Scorpio rising sun is going to have a baby in August, and he probably will be feeling like he has to pull away from the work intensity, so there's examples for you. But there's just something about the best month for work connected to increased prosperity and luck is the month of July. So you can use that time, or it could just naturally show up that way as well. And certainly I will repeat my themes. The North Node will move in to your 4th house where that eclipse is happening on February the 17th. And when the North Node moves into your 4th house at the end of July and will be there for 18 months, that's another meaning of that would be an increase of the potential for an inheritance up from the family of origin. Okay. It's going to keep on keeping on. Yes, nothing I can do about it. It's what the sky is showing us. Venus will star point in the heart of the sun for the last in a lifetime on October 24th in the sign of Scorpio at 0 degrees. I don't care what degree your Scorpio sun, moon, or rising is. This is going to mean simply that she's going to reset some button in your life. She rules money, and she rules love, and she rules fertility, ovum, sperm, and pregnancies. Okay. She exalts your house of pregnancy. So her reset button can invite in fertility. She did reset here in 2018, October, and she spit into her next reset in 22 in your 12th house. But that cycle that she begins here in October could take you back to October of 2018 through to about September maybe of 2019. What was happening there in your life regarding love and romance and money and fertility? If anything, something might have been happening and it might feel familiar to you. There is also the element when she resets here on October the 24th through to say vibes September, maybe of 2027. There's possibly the energy here of that reset button directing her attention to a new kind of income source, particularly the 12th house, which is to work for a foreign company, or to move to a foreign country and make money, or to make money through clients and customers internationally. And you know something, I have a Scorpio rising sun, and that start point in 2018 / into 2019. I believe that's when he started working for an international company. Memory serves me, okay? A US-based company, and still works for a US-based company now, but a different company than the one back then. And Mars is the Lord of your sign, and Mars star pointed. Did I say Venus? Venus star points in your sign, but Mars is the Lord of your sign. And he did a massive readjustment of your 3rd house on January 9th. Now, I have to say, with the North Node here and a star point in your 3rd house on January 9th, Mars in the heart of Mars conjunct the sun and Venus conjunct the sun. If you've always wanted to start your own business and be an entrepreneur, if that's a thought you've had, to not be working for other people, but to create your own company or your own endeavor, or if you're an artist or a creative, you could have the beginning of success financially for that direction in your life. Venus will try to bring that success to you over the course of a year almost. So you could say January the 6th to October 24th. Venus says, can you do your own thing, be an artist, an entrepreneur, a self-directed business person, own your own company? Mars says, yeah, I'm doubling down on that. But he says, I'll give you 2 years to pull it off. So in terms of money-making endeavors, by being unemployed but self-employed, and that could be why the South Node for some of you is moving through your 10th house. I don't care if you're consulting, you're still working for somebody else, working for yourself, even having employees one day. Some Scorpios are moving into that story, whether you know it or not. And it starts out this year. It began in January. Mars would like to deliver it by the 2-year window. So all by the end of 2027, by early 2028. Okay. That's what we got for you. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign, the energy of the scope of money for 2026, entertainment purposes only. Don't forget to check out Krishtina's appended content at the end of this video. where you can learn all about the world events in markets and stock markets. Now, look, first things first, Jupiter is your guy. You owe Jupiter a lifetime's worth of luck. He's your Lord. And he's moving through the chunky money house. I don't know how else to say it. It could be a stock investment taken off or a portfolio of investments increasing. It could be money from an inheritance or spousal separation, or money from an insurance payout, life insurance payout. I don't know, chunk of money, here you come. And as a Sagittarius, this happens every 12 years, but this is like not last seen in 1894, where Jupiter trines the North Node, 1894. And this is doubling down because this is a house of legacy wealth. And this is the people you grew up with, mom and dad, but siblings. This is your childhood family that you spent time in a home with in your childhood. And we see this increase of volume up connected to Jupiter. Some of you are going to come into some money. End of story by the end of this year. And Jupiter will try to bring it if he can. He will try to bring it by June the 30th, but if he can't, then he'll even try to increase the extension to courts and probate land for another year. So some of you will come into some money. Now, this includes money from separating and divorcing as well. So as well as inheritances from the family of origin. There's multiple ways that this can happen, but most likely it is literally a traditional bequeathment and legacy wealth transfer. The other option is selling of a property, especially if the property connects to your family of origin, and coming into some significant wealth increase. Jupiter has been in your 8th house, right? Got here, up here last year in June, but he went into a lot of difficulty squaring Saturn, and he's retrograde. The best Jupiter juice for that money coming to you in those luscious, unexpected, non-earned income ways is going to be March the 11th to June the 30th, when he's moving quickly forward in direct motion. All right. And that could really be when you see the story financially in 26 playing out for you. Now, and if that does happen and you need to go to court or probate or divorce settlement agreements, that can happen here too. Not to worry, because then Jupiter will spend a year in the house of judges and courts favoring you there between July 1st all the way through a year. So into mid 27. So you're looking good on all of these counts. So don't be afraid about separating, divorcing. You should come out on top. Or probate or inheritance from family, you should be fine. I don't think you're going to fight with your siblings or anything. Now, the other part of the story that might be important is, of course, Lord Saturn's journey, because, this is where you make money, right? I make some money. He works hard for his money. She's working the hard 9 to 5. Your earned income and your resources, possessions, and savings. Now, Saturn is a ruler of that part of your chart. And Mars also, and Venus star pointed here. There's a couple of stories in one. I'm encouraging you to think about the possibility of becoming an entrepreneur or running your own show. And that's because the entrepreneurial and self-directed business house, the 5th house, will be Saturn's place of travel through the year after the middle of February. So from February 13th, 14th, at about 3 years, Saturn is transiting here. But in the short time, he owns the way you make money, and he severed and ended something here, because he went into the heart of the sun here. He conjoined the sun on January 9th. He hasn't done that in years, okay? Right? It takes you lots of years back in time to 1994, 95. Did you make a major change in earning structures and ways of making money? Some of you might have. And there is something that wants to change again. So you're going to change the way you make money. But Mars is known as a self-starter and being his own business guy anyway in the 2nd house, kind of taking on earnings and money stories. It could be connected to self-directed financial gain. And so a lot of Sagittarius, we better to look at the entrepreneurial angle that this January 9th star point is telling you about. Exalted earnings through entrepreneurial endeavors. Don't even think about the entrepreneurial stuff till Saturn moves on in mid-February to your 5th house, but mid-February to the end of the year, yes, of course, yes, because Venus star pointed here as well on January the 6th and through until October 24th. She's just as happy to try to get you rammed up and started up in a kind of entrepreneurial zeitgeist. Now, the other side of that is you could come into winning money. It feels like you could windfall out. Venus rules the house of pennies from heaven and windfalls. Mars rules a house of winning money through speculation and gambling. So casinos, gambling, what do you call those things? Bingo halls, lotteries. What do you call those things? Whatever they are. Raffles. These are ways you could come into money all the way through, basically, with Venus's support until the end of October. So you could have a lot of money luck just in a general principle during that journey. Your money luck is increased even. Okay, where's the most lucky part of winning money, for example? Well, I'd like Jupiter to move into your 9th house. So I'm going to give you June the 30th to October 24th. You could be very lucky financially in ways that feel like you've just received a windfall, even if it's not literally a lottery ticket. Now, again, that could take us back to legacy wealth and inheritances as well. Right? You can't ignore that story. If you ever wanted to make borderless income, digital revenue, work for a foreign company, work in a foreign land professionally, the Venus star point October 24th in your 12th house can add that to the mix. Although we're talking about October 24th to September 27, new sorts of digital income, borderless revenue, money from foreign companies working in a foreign land. These are stories that can open up doors of opportunity for you, especially when Lord Jupiter will be here mid-year through your 9th house, and then adding fuel to this fire that Venus is setting up for you. That kind of makes it more like the first 6 months of 2026. You could be making income from foreign places and foreign lands. So you might also just want to move to another country under this kind of sky. For some of you, you might want to relocate to a foreign land as well. That's another option. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. I like the sky. There's something going on here for Cappies where the money story is intense. Let's start with the first story. This is the money you make and earn. There's an eclipse here on February 17th at 28 degrees of your 2nd house. There's no two ways about it. There's a change in the way in which you make money. There's a fated change. It occurred here in 2008, 2009, these kinds of eclipses. Did you change your earnings, new company, new job, new type of work? And this also happened back in like 1990, 91. Same things. What kind of changes happened here? Especially like the eclipse that happened in January of 90, January, February 1990, January, February of 2008. How did your money change? How did the way you make money change? I know I'm going to tell me about the subprime loan scandal and the financial collapse. I know a lot of people got slammed by that. So be careful because it activates the house of investments in the stock market too. So be careful. But otherwise, I'm saying you do have another reset button here. Now, unlike those other two, this reset button from the February the 17th, 28 degree eclipse also involves Saturn, the Lord of your 2nd house of earnings and your own sun and moon and rising. And he's going to actually try to transfer the change to the 3rd house of what? The North Node Rahu, the 3rd house of making money online, writing and teaching, websites, digital processing of monies, making money from things to do with travel, teaching, and learning. There's something changing here. Money is being made in a new way. And what's interesting about that energy, because Saturn is here, right? But he will be crossing the boundary just before the eclipse on February 27th and end up in your 4th house, which also means you could have an eclipse that gives you the opportunity to possess a new home. Even if it's just a rental, it's a possession. I possess the place I live in a way, So there's a change of the way you make money, and there's a change of perhaps where you live connected to money. Now, sometimes it's like I'm going to move because I'm going to make money at a new company, but sometimes it's I'm going to make money and I'm going to move. But there's very much a possibility of both things being true at the same time. So money and home change is coming through in the sky off the eclipse of February 17th. Some of it may show up a month before at least, maybe 6 weeks before, and up to 6 months after February 17th. There's a definite destined change of income source. With the South Node eclipses coming through here later, for example, there's a South Node eclipse in your 8th house of chunky money. And that eclipse is going to be total. It's going to be on the 12th of the month at 20 degrees of Leo, 12th of August. That August eclipse can be very dangerous. If you're in the stock market investments, be careful because South Node is loss. It's a South Node energy. But on the other hand, it can be pulling you away from relying on monies that are not being earned actively. What kind of monies are not earned actively? Investment monies, passive income, spousal support money, money from inheritance monies, money you depend on that isn't being generated directly by you, and or government grants or welfare money, and that money, no, it can't rely on that. The South Node enters Leo at the end of the month of July. And then we have that eclipse on August the 12th. And that's going to be the end of that kind of money if you've been relying on that kind of money as a Capricorn. I have an ex-husband Capricorn, and he's retired and he's relying on his retirement grant state. You know what I mean, guys, retirement fund. Good luck. I think that's going to be a change for him, where that ex-husband, he doesn't mind if I talk about him, I've asked, is going to start finding new ways to create money. Okay. So I'm just using people I know as an example because it comes to my mind as an example. Now, one of the things I would notice about your story here is that as a Capricorn, you had a rare reset button by the exaltation Lord Mars in your sign on January the 9th. And it's not particularly related to money in the most direct way. Okay. So I'm having to make a caveat here. If you are to inherit money from anybody you grew up with, and in your chart, it could particularly be with the placement of Jupiter, a sibling 3 older or 3 younger than you, passing land, property, money, resources, their favorite slippers or something onto you because they're getting ready to exit the planet. That is a story that is showing up in your chart. And Venus says, well, it might be really relevant to you because she star pointed there on January 6th. And then Mars said January 9th. But Mars will try to deliver that money more specifically over the 2 years that follow. So all of 26 and all of 27, you may come into some inheritance money from the family of origin. And it could also be from that sibling 3 above you or 3 below you. So keep that in mind. Okay. Okay, so the idea of windfalls and pennies from heaven and lucky breaks. There's some of that going on for you this year. Well, when Jupiter enters into your 8th house, which is going to be on June the 30th, that's chunky money through inheritances, sale of property, and in-laws. Okay, so there's those chunks of money. But before that happens, before you get to June 30th, add 12 months for that inheritance thing that I might be seeing, or money from a separation, a spousal divorce agreement. That would be Jupiter here, June 30th, out a year. Before we get to that point, it's important to let you know that Uranus is on a wealth star in a winning money house. That could be the lottery, a casino, something like that. Because what happens here is he will station on February 4th and through to April the 26th. This is a very lucky part of your sky in some way. Now, you could be lucky in love. One of your kids could have a child. You could become a grandparent. I know there's a lot of other meanings, but we're focused on money today. And that is a wealth star. Algol can bring wealth. And so you might come into some money in a very fortunate way, a very lucky way, a very surprising way, coming off that energetic field of February 4th to April the 26th. So, of course, you should buy a lottery ticket or two. Don't overdo it. Know your limit. Live within it, But yes, why not? Yes. So buying a ticket now and then, if the universe is going to bequeath you a lottery, it's in your natal chart, guys. You have to read the natal chart. But if you're one of those people, it's going to happen. It's going to happen under this influence. And this expires for you on April the 27th. So this is your last gasp on a wealth star. And he's direct February 4th to April 26th. And that's your chance to win some money. And I do not mind that during that window, he's got a sextile forming between Jupiter and Uranus, which is particularly powerful in the second half of April. So let's say April the 10th to the 26th is your most yay you time. I would even say the whole month of April is the best time for you up until the 26th to win money in a luscious and unexpected way. And it could also come from a significant long-term love partner or someone, significant in your life also coming into money and sharing money with you. So there's more than one way to skin that cat. Let's move into the next story. I think we're done with you. I can't see anything else to talk about. Venus star point in your 11th house can bring career gains to you better than ever. So you could go back to 2018. What were you doing in October? There's going to be a change in how you gain careers. It doesn't have to be good or bad. She won't be doing this again. She's going to make a change in how you make money from your career. October 24th through to September of 27. She won't do this again. So this is your chance. You may as well take it. Well, actually till August of 27, and you could get some new source of earnings or money coming to you in some way. And some of that money could come from a sibling, one older than you. So go back to 2018 and add about 9-10 months, fall of 18, October of 18. Did you get money connected to a sibling at any time during that story as well? All right, one older than you. Let's move on to the next story. All righty, Aquarius, I am one of you, sun, moon, and rising sign. Sometimes I listen to my voice and I think I sound like Candace Owens. Do you guys know if I sound like Candace Owens to you? Maybe I'm listening to her too much, or maybe my voice is similar. All right, so you are me. I am you. I'm Aquarius rising. And this is pertinent for the sun and moon, but I listened to the intro. I think the rising and sun is best for this stuff. And it looks to me like we're having a year when it comes to money, alrighty, where we have an possibly positive energy of increase through the earnings and job and work sector, not through inheritances, for example. Now, this began to be true for us already. It began last year in June when Jupiter entered into Cancer, our work house, and began to flow in a way he hasn't done since 1994 to the North Node in your second house. And that's a combination of the North Node here began in earnest January 11th of 2025 and closes out at the end of July 2026. But particularly with the North Node here and Jupiter here. So the best time is until the end of June. So all of 25 till the end of June, the combination is for an increase of money through your work, livelihood, and career path. And so I can attest that has happened to me. So that's one thing Aquariuses need to be aware of. You continue to increase that money. It should get even better when Jupiter springs forward on March the 11th, and then March the 11th all the way through until June 30th. There's going to be an even more frothy and foamy and juicy increase of wealth through career activities and work and career and money and earnings. Now, not that I think you should look for a sugar mama or sugar daddy, but when Jupiter enters your seventh house on June 30th and will stay there for 12 months, a lot of times people get involved in relationships to people who are wealthy, or wealthy people come into your life as business partners. So there's that other way money can show up to you in the second half of the story, mid-year this year, July of this year to July of 2027. That's if you're single. If you're married, Jupiter going through the marriage house can increase the wealth of your partner. And if you're happily married, you benefit from the increase in the wealth of your partner. So there's money story number 2 for you in the year ahead. Now, possibly another source of wealth. On February 4th through to April 27th, we have the stationary direct motion of Uranus on a wealth star Algol in the house of legacy wealth, family of origin, and land and property. I don't know how that could happen for me. I doubt that it will, but you could come into an unexpected bit of wealth through the family of origin in some way. Basically, for some of you, you might be saying, oh yeah, my eldering granddad is dying, but he told me I'm number 1 on the inheritance list. So you could, but it's just a bit of a surprise too. But the wealth star in the family of origin can bring wealth in an unexpected and very swift moving way under this kind of a sky. And it should show up by the end of April. Otherwise, it's likely to not happen. Another story. There's so many stories to talk about. There's an eclipse on February the 17th at 28 degrees of Aquarius. The closer your sun, moon, or rising is to 28, the more intense it is for you, but you all feel it no matter what. That eclipse is activating the North Node of increase in the house of earnings. It's still the earnings story, but now an eclipse is involved. A solar eclipse is involved. And that solar eclipse will have a Mars-Pluto combination nearby. It could indicate you're going to make some major choices or decisions between February 17th. And you could add up to about 6 months later in your means of making money. You may make changes in the style and the way in which you earn money. and it will still increase your money. Rather than I'm quitting my job and I make no money, you make a change and you still increase your earnings by those decisions to change the way you're making money, right? To shift the gears of the second house in some fundamental way. Venus is a money goddess. She's star pointed in Capricorn on the 6th of January, and she unfolds a story that lasts till October 24th. Now, this could indicate an opportunity to make money from foreign lands and foreign people, digital income and borderless revenue, and also moving to another country to make money, or maybe making money from a foreign company. Particularly that star point that happened, Venus, on January the 6th, unroll that for about 9 or 10 months. Venus has other things to say, money from publishing, book publishing, maybe podcasting, and in the word increase and success. And also, if you are going to use that energy, there's a lot of galvanizing energy from Uranus, right, that occurs here in this flow through till the end of April. So it's kind of like, yeah, then you might want to think about visible Venus, February 17th through to April 26th, riding a Uranian excitement wave in terms of financial increase connected to digital borderless income and revenue, far off lands and shores, and also connections to themes of working abroad or working. You can also work quietly behind the scenes on a creative project, especially anything that connects you to creative projects connected to art, writing, communicating, entrepreneurial stuff. And what you could do with that star point that happened here, which happens every 4 years, but not in a trine to Uranus, what you can do with that star point is really rejuvenate, really jumpstart your, I'm going to stay home and write a book. That could be me. And I'm going to get that damn thing done for my agent, Eileen. You know what I mean? So there's excitement there about possibly really, especially given that Mars also hit the solar conjunction on 3 days after Venus in January, the first week of January or so, 6th and 9th, and he rules your writing house and she rules your publishing house. So any of you for whom creative, artistic, and entrepreneurial endeavors might involve writing and publishing, that star point can bring you lots of luck and financial success if you adhere to continuing to write and aim for publishing. And that plays out through until Venus's star point ends in October of the end of the year. And finally, because we always make money through, unless we retire, our 10th house as well, 10 to 6, Artha. There's a star point here, October 24th, and you will get no more star points in your 10th house. So listen to me carefully, guys. As an Aquarius rising, I can speak to this. She star pointed here in October 2018. I was studying astrology with Adam Ellenbus at the time. Okay, I started my YouTube channel and began to work as a professional astrologer in 2019. I want you to think about that because that was the beginning of my astrology career. And that Venus star point in October of 18 through to the fall of 2019 was me being an astrologer for you guys. Venus is star pointing in the 10th house for the last in a lifetime at 0 Scorpio. Many working Aquariuses are going to make a change in the way they make money in some way. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as me starting a whole new profession, but it can be something important. And Venus rules book publishing, academia, and study. So I don't know what it is, but I can tell you, look for that star point, October 24th. Let it roll out for about 10 months and ask yourself, what is my new path in my work? Same star point can move your home. And I moved to Montreal, but new home and new career path open up October 24th at 10 months. Okay. All right. And finally, last but not least, best and always best. And if I forgot some segment of possibility for you, then forgive me. Okay. Because I know that I get, I told you the troll story in the beginning. She's probably going to hear this. She hasn't subscribed. She's never going to listen to my channel again. It's possible. She's going to listen to my channel and now she'll troll me about calling her out. Oh my God. It was so weird. Obviously, you're not a very good astrologer. You're not worth your salt. I've been listening to you for a year, but I'm no longer going to listen to you. You missed something. I'm like, what is wrong with people sometimes? Someone tell me what is wrong with people sometimes in the comments. Let me know what is wrong with people. You put on a show. You make 3 videos a week. You do the work. You be an astrologer for decades. And then you can criticize. Sorry, that's my Aquarius, by the way, and my Aries sun and moon. Get pissy, fight back. You see, I love Aquarius as we love humanity. We don't like individual people. And when individual people are gnarly, I remind myself that I love all of you, like a big blur called the public, but I'm not always really fond of the individuals in reality. Let's move on with my confession. Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. In the story of you, we want to talk money, honey. That's the whole point of this video. You could win the lottery. Your kids could give you money this year. You could get rich from your kids or from a lottery win. In the house of winning through gambling and speculation, good fortune and finances is Lord Jupiter. He's been trying to do it for you, but not having much luck. He's been here since last June. He got entangled in a square to Lord Saturn, which was putting the parking brake on him. Then he got retrograding out. Now he's back. His retrogradation will end on March the 11th, and through March 11th to the end of June, then you're going to be lucky. So by March 11th to the end of the June, please buy a lottery ticket. If you're going to win a lottery ticket before then, it's because it's under your sofa and you bought it in the past. When he's retrograde, it's good luck from the past. And in the meantime, take that suggestion and do not spend all your money. You don't need to buy like $2 million worth of lottery tickets to win. You need to buy one ticket at the right time in the right place. So March 11th to the 26th, to June 30th, your children can get wealthy. Your children can dispense wealth your way. They may gift you with money, take care of you. Children, prosperity, luck. This will end. All good things come to an end, and this will come to an end. This will make your kiddies pregnant too. Your kiddos pregnant. But this will come to an end and it will close out on the 30th of June. And then you'll have Jupiter in the work house. Now, quite often when Jupiter's here in a work and livelihood house, it's also a rental property house. Yeah, of course, you can rent a beautiful property, get a big, beautiful pet. I'm giving you 6 house stories, but you can make money through working. Okay. And Jupiter says luck, expansion, growth, success, earnings, money, resources. And Jupiter rules your 10th house of career, doubling down on getting work through livelihood and job and earnings, creating an archetypal comes up like this. And that will be your story if you want to make money through work and increase the money you already make and be luckier and more lusciously yay, and even have employees if that's something you want to do. That glow up on the work, career, money story begins on June the 30th and will last until midsummer of 2027. With eclipses also activating this axis of the money you can make here. Now, there is an eclipse on February the 17th, right here in the 12th house of money from distant shores, foreign lands, foreign companies, and foreign entities. There's a possibility of getting an opportunity from February 17th, even at a year in a foreign country. All right. Or with a foreign government or a foreign, like you move to the place and you make money, or you get hired by an entity that is a corporate foreign entity in another land, or you make digital income and borderless revenue because you do something online and your customers are worldwide. That door is opening for you, and it's going to start opening up fully on the eclipse itself on the 17th of February, and you can give it a whole year to completely unfurl itself for you. And because the north node of amplitude and volume up is in your sign, it increases your sense of worldly success in your own identity field. And of course, Pisces sun in your career, Pisces moon in your home and nest, but Pisces rising in your character in the simulation, being more worldly successful energetically. Now, because the south node enters the workhouse as well, right? And that will be coming through on the end of July. That can say that the month of July is your most optimistic time for getting work or job stuff successfully if you're applying for work. The south node is kind of tempering things, and it kind of is like lukewarm energy, because it takes the excitement of the fire in Leo and kind of tones it down, kind of takes some of the goodness away a little bit. But on the other hand, it could also indicate destined and fated opportunities regarding job and work. If you're looking to move and you're thinking, I want to have a property I'm renting, I just want to also say that's a good month, July, to aim for without any complications for a locational shift connected to rentals. Next money story for you. All right. Uranus is stationing on a wealth star in your 3rd house, siblings. So on February 4th through to the end of April, you might get some chunks of money, some wealth coming through a sibling who's experiencing wealth passed on to you. Or your sibling could be having some life challenges like passing away. I don't know. Hopefully you're old when you're listening to this. We're not talking about young people because we're talking about, can you get money, bequeathment from a sibling. Possibly you could. So those two stories show up February the 4th. Now, sometimes aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews can be here, so siblings as well, and some bequeathment money from those extended family members. February 4th, as Uranus stations direct on Algol, a wealth star in the house of all of these people. Even the neighbors, like the old lady next door loves you for every day coming to help her with her, caring for the elderly, and she put you in her will, or he put you in his will. This kind of weird stuff that could surprise you comes through. And again, February 4th through to April 26th, you could be aware of a money chunk coming to you through those people, especially given there's a sextile from Jupiter. This indicates as well that the first 3 weeks of April are especially auspicious for potentially coming into some money from those characters of neighbors, siblings, childhood friends, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews. There's something called windfalls or pennies from heaven, where you feel like you've been blessed by an unexpected download of financial well-being. And because Venus, a money goddess, star pointed in Capricorn on January the 6th, throughout January 6th until October 24th, you could come into a windfall. My feeling is the windfall is more likely to occur when Venus is visible again. So February 17th until Jupiter leaves here, June the 30th, there is a chance to win money. It could be a casino, a lottery ticket. It could be a stock investment taking off dramatically. It could still be an inheritance, because sometimes it's simply we feel like we hit the jackpot when we come into some money that we didn't earn. But there's this vibe of money, fortune, luck, windfall, pennies from heaven, luck, success. Speculation and gambling can play a role. And so I would encourage you then, February 17th, proactively, through until about June 30th, to consider a lottery ticket now and then could really, really hit the big one for you. I do not think it will come until, I want Venus visible in the sky and she's invisible, right? So you need kind of to trust the sky. And so it's funny, February 17th, there's also that eclipse, so there's a lot going on there. So it could be like a fire pistol starting out for you to win some money or come into some money, and it feels like a windfall to you. Venus rules your house of inheritance and spousal support money. Money from a spouse, money from inheritances. We keep seeing the same story, but it feels like a windfall from that Capricorn star point, set point that happened on January 6th and expires at the end of October. Those are money sources for you. Okay. And that includes divorce settlements as well. That can include also with the South Node in the 7th house, and where Mercury was sitting during the star points, that it can include widowing and widowhooding, right? If that's a part of your wheelhouse. This is for married people, and money from your spouse, maybe an insurance policy or some money or resources that they have. Now, I don't want to worry you, but I mean, I have to be realistic about the sky, right? So that is for people with a partner in a marriage, long-term, common law, even cohabitating love story, right? Those Pisces are the ones I'm talking about. All right. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to or your in-laws, or money from your in-laws coming to you as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. In the next segment of our video, you'll see urbanwitch.org, Krisztina Simon, talking about the markets for world astrology and what she thinks is going to happen in finances in the world, especially in the stock markets, but even more economics, etc., in the year ahead. I hope you enjoyed that video. It came out in December, but just to give you a second chance to watch it, I stuck it to the end of this all signs. I am so thrilled to be talking today to Krisztina Simon, who's going to talk about the astrology Astro-astrology of 2026. She's a very amazing astrologer. She goes into great depths using ancient tools and her own amazing abilities as an astrologer. So Krisztina Simon will be joining us today. By the way, just a little bit about Krisztina. She got her bachelor's degree in special ed and drama therapy from Hungary, where she's from, and she was even trained as a psychiatric nurse. Eventually, though, she took a step back from all of that and she began to learn the arts of Reiki, crystal healing, healing, massage therapy, aromatherapy, graphology, reflexology. She also, by the way, is a palm reader. And she read my palm and I was blown away. In fact, I bought like 6 palm readings for my friends. So she's multi-talented. I'm so glad to have her on our channel today. I'm going to let her into our room. So let me go ahead and let Krisztina into our space so we can chat with her.
Very blessed to be here with Lori today. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Before you got here, I was telling people like an intro about who you are, you know, how talented you are. And that after having a palm reading with you last year, I sent like everyone I knew to see you. So I love the multiple talents that you have, Krisztina. And I will be putting your website for people who are interested in getting in touch with you at the bottom of this video. And her website is really fun. It's called urbanwitch.org. So it's a great website to go visit. And so that's also going to be shared with everyone as well, if they want to see you for any personal reasons as well. So welcome. And we're going to be talking today about the astrology of 2026, particularly what might be going on with the financials, the economy, and major events around. Stories to do with that. And so I'm going to be able to give you some power here, all the power, in order to come over and, you know, share stuff if you want, but I'm going to make you a co-host right now. And so all you need to do is, so there you have full power.
Okay, all right, let me see, because actually I downloaded something, then I might going to be able to share that. Let me see, where is my downloads, because I sent it to you before, but okay, here is the financial slide. All right, so and so the people can actually see what we are talking about here. So let me share this. Very good. And I also did my background for you guys, because that is the 2026 planetary ingresses and also the major trines. Because when we are talking about financial astrology, we have to examine every single planet which is going to ingress, and it also starts with a synodic cycle. The market is always based on the outer and inner planet of synodic cycle, and you have to know the inner planet is for short term trading, and the outer planet is actually shows the global market for a longer term period. So for example, Saturn Pluto, right, when it started in 2020, when we actually had the C19, obviously market is crashing a little bit over there, not a little bit, it's obviously crashed over there. And then we're going to have right now Uranus Pluto sextile, so it's going to be a tiny little bit more pleasant, but I'm gonna go one by one, and I'm going to give you actually examples. And if you want to, I already wrote 150 pages for each individual rising sign, financial astrology, how to start it, how to invest, what is moon bag, and everything I explain, you know, cold wallet, hot wallet, how not to lose actually money. And I'm really against day trading. I'm so sorry if you guys, some of you day trade, but to me, because I'm a psychiatric nurse, Lori, you know, I'm the special teacher, day trading for me, it's very, very Jupiterian in 5th house. That is to me gambling, and DSM-6 also says it creates dopamine and serotonin imbalance. Actually, it increases, and obviously it's kind of, they say it's a gambling, so I don't do day trade. You can do it, and you can see the moon and the sun cycle. The moon is the most convenient to watch, actually, the declination of the moon for the day trading. Mm-hmm. So let's start that. Okay. So we're going to go one by one, and we're going to actually talk about January 26, when Neptune going to re-enter Aries. We already had that flavor, guys, okay? So whatever is happening right now, it is cycles. We already had Neptune in Aries, we had Saturn in Aries, we had a slightly conjunction. Actually, it was conjuncted by the minute Neptune and Saturn, but not minute, by degree, but not minute. So it's gonna be exact on February 20th, and we're going to talk about that. And you know, you can cut me, you can ask questions, but I just want to tell everyone, I also going to bring in historical parallel. Why? Because you must understand the geopolitical field and the climate impact on market. Without that, you don't and you won't be able to invest, and actually raise and increase your investment. That's very, very important. So when you are talking to a financial astrologer, exactly.
Can I ask the question? How much importance do you think it has then for global markets that it's happening on the world axis at 0 degrees of Aries? Does that factor in for you?
Absolutely. When it's a world axis, anything in the world axis, guys, it's a significant shift in the collective. It's moving through, for example, the Western collapses and it's gonna move to the East. So we're going to talk about BRICS as well. And for example, at this moment, it's over 20 countries co-joined with BRICS, right? And they actually own 72% of the resources of the earth. And they own the very rare minerals which we need to actually for pipelines, because it's not corroding. And I'm gonna go back over that. But yes, the world axis is a major shift. Okay. So we are going to move into the west, to the east. Why? Because of the USA has a Uranus return on the 250th birthday of the US, with Uranus-Mars conjunction, my dear, on natal Uranus 2 degrees away. Okay, so this is a severe war. No matter what, I get trashed because they say US not gonna have a civil war. I'm sorry if you are actually not willing to see, or if you are in denial, but it will have a civil war, okay? And then I'm going to bring in historical parallel, and I also want to give credit to Jessica Davidson, who is living in Britain, and she is a beautiful astrologer writer. Actually, right now, she's not doing anything. She burned out, and she is really exhausted. I just got an email from her, but she did a lot of amazing work, and her work is actually helping us to create, for you, any kind of video. So she is an amazing astrologer as well. Yes,
agreed. She is amazing, absolutely. And just for those listening, BRICS is like, a different system of economic trade that's being created between like Brazil, Russia, India, China, etc., and it's expanding and growing rapidly. And we want to also consider that it might create a new currency system outside of the US dollar. So that's where the threat is to the US. So just some people might not have understood what BRICS meant.
Yes, so BRICS is actually, yes, that is going to be a new currency, and it's going to be a new petro money. It's not going to be obviously dollar. Why? Because when the US has the Uranus return, and on the 250th birthday, we have Uranus Mars, July 4th, 2026, it's going to conjunct on the natal Uranus of the US, then the US dollar already having a Saturn return, only 5 degrees away, the natal Saturn in fall. So obviously there is going to be the crash of dollar, and obviously petrodollar, it's not going to be significant. We are moving toward to the BRICS nations, and they're going to actually, because they already own 72% of the resources, and obviously it's going to be, and China going to be the vault of gold. So they're going to have Russia, India, Korea, Brazil, Venezuela, all the very rich people going to actually have the gold bars, have it in safe in China. It's already started in 2022. So that's also the gold standard and the dollar standard in the US. It's creating a collapse. And that's why the recent political field, the recent political area, they are supporting the massacre in Middle East, obviously. So it's also increasing the potential to have a downward of the US right now. Okay. So that's what I wanted to say. But how do you time the market? As I said, the inner, so Mars, Venus is currency, but you also have to know Venus also sugar cane, for example, also representing anything to do with precious metal as well. And Mars is metal itself. Saturn is, for example, steel, and anything to do with submarine technology, especially right now when it's going to trine sextile with Uranus. So that's the cycles what we are checking and the geopolitical behind. And the outer planets are always going to set the mood for actually a long term of period, right? So for example, it started with Saturn Pluto, which is actually also could bring in totalitarianism and fascism as well. So you also have to know what the planets means, guys, when they conjunct with political ideology, right? Because that is also either support the market, for example, either support, the democracy could support, or social democracy, the welfare of the poor people, less criminal and better housing system for the poor, right? Then it could bring in, for example, better capitalism. So actually social democracy, which is will be Saturn and Neptune, for example, not necessarily bad, because of it still could help to the country to create capitalism, obviously. So you also have to watch and, analyze the ideology, the political ideology, and the climate change as well, guys, because it could also crash the market, obviously, right?
Absolutely. I just want to ask you a question and bring something quickly up. The Pluto factor being over the next decade out of bounds in the south declination has tended historically to look a lot like the rise of the people against the tyranny or the dictatorial or the powerful. So the last example was the founding of the United States against the power that England was lording over it. So to me, the Pluto out of bounds energy in the south declination, I think, is going to offer us up a whole new system in which the people reach back for the power that's been taken from them.
Exactly. And that is so right, because of when Pluto is in Aquarius especially, and it's out of bound, they're not going to be able to control us. You see what's going on in the US, right? For example, it's also very interesting. Uranus in Gemini, it's the comedian, right? Because it's sarcasm and comedy. And look who is actually the one who is criticizing right now. And they were all actually Republicans. And right now they're going to the middle and going toward to the middle. And they are the one who has the voice. And what does Pluto in Aquarius wants first? They still cling on the power, the shadow government still clinging on the power, but the people are going to say, look at Candice Owen, you're not going to allow me to shut up. Do you want to assassinate me? Okay, all right, I have my everything, all my will and all my knowledge, spread it to 10, 15 people. If I die, you're going to go down. So they are not, look at Tucker Carlson, how did he shifted in the middle again? Look at, all of them. So they are not capable. They want to censor us. Look what's happening with Google, TikTok, social media, obviously going to in one hand, right? Or one ideology. It could be political ideology, or it could be religious ideology, right? Neptune-Saturn conjunction also could be some kind of war, right? Which could be actually a religious war, what we are seeing already, because we already had the war. So it's indicating that. But, also it could be some kind of social democracy coming on, and Pluto in Aquarius out of bond. We are not taking it anymore. We're done. We're not going to allow to be manipulated.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, obviously you saw Candice yesterday too, right? So Candice Owen is like, I've sent dozens of messages out to people. If I suddenly die, all this information is going to be exposed. Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. But you're sort of saying that with the mercurial energy, the people who are the comedians and sometimes the big voices in our community, the messengers, are coming into a part of a situation with Pluto in the south declination out of bounds, where they're standing up for that, we the people, against what you called the shadow government. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great.
Shadow government.
I agree. Shadow government, yes.
Yeah, so yes, that's what we are doing right now. And then you also, before you invest, guys, either you can actually take a course, crypto courses. There is a lot of online courses which is free and a lot of information on YouTube. Thanks God to YouTube in this case. Otherwise, YouTube is really censoring right now. So I assume a new platform is coming up when Jupiter gonna go to Leo, because then we're going to have uncensored actually platforms instead of YouTube and TikTok and wherever Substack, where you went with your mundane astrology to Substack because it's not going to censor anything. And that could be also, like really good for investment as well. Yes.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So we have a slideshow here. Is that what I'm looking at? I'm excited to see
Yes.
what's coming up. Okay.
Yes, so we do have actually a slideshow over here because I wanted to show a few things for you guys and you can, see the mystical. For example, that is the first what we are talking about. The Neptune enters Aries over here. And what does Neptune representing? Neptune is inflation. Neptune doesn't do very well in Aries because Aries is very bold. Neptune likes his, watery, bigger than life. The ocean is bigger than life area. And it is too rapid to Neptune and too hot as well. But anyway, and Saturn also going to come and join on February 13th and February 20th, they're going to conjunct and it's going to be an exact conjunction. So, Neptune also very foggy planet. So it is actually volatility on the market. So as you saw, when we had the first Saturn-Neptune conjunction, guys, in May, between March and May this year, actually, 2025, we did have market manipulation by the recent administration of the US. And because of the co-woven, but you also have to understand butterfly effect, Weber, when you saw the movie, we co-woven. We are, like, affecting each other's life no matter what. So that's very, very important. So if the US starts something, obviously it's going to affect other nations as well. And the US started the tariff. And a lot of people doesn't understand the tariff, right? Because they are like, yes, Canada has to pay more tariffs, whatever. But what you have to comprehend, Canada's inhabitants is only 40 million, while America inhabitant is 365 million. So when you apply tariffs to countries, guys, it's not fair to actually apply the same tariff to countries because some countries has really, really small inhabitant or a really small, tiny area. So it has to be equal with the area and with the inhabitant. When it was actually exposed, right, or implanted, and Trump said, okay, we're going to have tariffs, obviously, there is no trust, market sentiment, people trust, it's crashing with that. So that's why it's crashed. It's a temporary, it's market manipulation, which should not be legal actually, but it is what it is. And it's gonna happen again when Saturn, Neptune conjunct February 20. So if you would like to get into the market after February 20, you're going to have a 3 to 6 weeks window with this market manipulation when you are capable to buy stocks and it's going to be actually great and you can invest money, for example. And what do you have to invest in? All right, so for example, Saturn, Neptune, right? Oil. Right now, we're still going to be okay with oil, right? But slowly, we are going toward and moving toward to a Uranian trine with Pluto, which is going to be unconventional energy, obviously. And within 5 weeks, yes. So oil not going to be actually within 5 to 10 years either available or we are going toward to unconventional. Actually, I would say 5 years because Uranus still has to be in Gemini. So unconventional energy. So within 5 years, we are moving forward from oil to different kind of heating oil as well. And also we're not gonna use that in the cars as well. Why? Because we have actually a sun so 2026 ruled by the sun, numerology 1, right? It's
Right. It's a 1 year. Yes.
yes. So solar energy, solar flares are activated. We also going to have gold. Gold value going to increase. The gold is moving to be involved in China, right? It started in 2022. Check it and, Google it. And it's going to be held by China, all right? But also because Jupiter goes to Leo, Leo also rules orange juice, gold, and it is shiny objects also, and solar energy also, and it's going to increase. So it's going to be really
Okay.
good.
I have a question then, because what I'm hearing you say is that because we're going to have some major market corrections, particularly involving the United States on that Neptune Saturn, that will occur around February 20th, that to invest before that is to get stuck in a downdraft. Is that what you're saying?
Actually, because we have the conjunction, then not before, right after you have 6 weeks open window.
Yep.
2 weeks before it's already conjuncting and it's very significant. So 2 weeks before we already going to see that, and we already going to have an eclipse in Aquarius. So the eclipse going to happen, the lunar eclipse on the 17th, which is also the Chinese New Year of Fire Horse. So this is big. This year it's the most important year, more important than 2020 was. Okay. The real crash not coming, guys, until Saturn Pluto square, which is going to be, Saturn has to be in Taurus, so 2028 October. It's going to be between August, October, gonna be a square, so that's the real crash is coming, but right now it's again a market manipulation. Also, November 7th, 2027, we're gonna have Uranus going back actually to Taurus, which is in fall. Uranus is technology.
No, November 7th this year, 2025. Yes. Sorry, you said 27, but that's okay.
Oh, okay, 2025, November 7th. Okay,
7th.
sorry.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yes. Yeah. Getting back in fall, which is technology, going to technological, NVIDIA, NASDAQ, technology, cars, electric cars, cryptocurrency could have a dip right now. So we are capable to invest again until April 2026. We're gonna have a dip over here, a decrease of crypto, and after 2026, April 26, it's going to start to increase again. What am I talking about here? Uranian cryptos. Anything to do with uranium, lithium, it's Uranus ruled. Anything to do with SMR, it's a small nuclear power, for example, which could actually give the electricity a whole community, more than 1,000 houses, right? Mm-hmm. It could be anything to do with Lucid, with Rivian, the cars, the electric cars, Tesla. Actually, Elon get out from the administration, or if yes or not, but it seems like he's out, and he's coming with the Tesla houses, which is only going to be mini Tesla houses below $10,000, for single people, for retirement. It could be really good rent a property in the backyard. So because of that, and because of he also coming with the Tesla phone, which is going to include Starlink for free, what's going to happen? Tesla is going to increase significantly. Yes.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Well, in Musk's 11th house whole sign, right? He's a Cancer rising.
Yes.
No, is he? Oh no. So in his third, no, is
it's he? It's in the first house.
So it's in, yeah. No, he's a Cancer rising, but yeah, you're talking about, what I'm confused about is Uranus is going back into the place of Taurus, where Uranus had jump-started or increased all of the cryptocurrency energy to begin with. So you're seeing it the opposite, November 7th to next year, April, that the retrograde back in. Is it not increasing crypto as a general principle, but you're saying it's actually pulling back on the crypto prices, correct? Did I understand?
Only when it's going to be in retrograde motion.
Right.
So when it's dipping back to Taurus. It's
So,
in fourth.
so pulling back the gains.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful. I understand.
And then when it's going to go again direct, it's going to start to pick up. And the moment it's ingress Gemini again, in Gemini, Uranus loves to be in. And because of that, it's significantly increasing. Yes.
Understand totally. Wonderful. Okay. I love this stuff. Thank you.
Yes. And then also, you know, the housing market. For example, right now Jupiter is in exalted in Cancer, right? We're still living in bubbles. However, because we're going to have the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, right? And right now, it's still trining with Jupiter in water sign. And Pisces is anything to do with underprivileged people, right?
Yeah.
Saturn is in retrograde, Neptune going to be in retrograde. So obviously it weakens the planets. However, it's a trine with exalted Jupiter, which is also going to go to retrograde. But it's still going to give the opportunity to have less APR. The mortgage could be settled for 3%, 4%, or something like that. Or the government, Saturn, in multiple countries could give some kind of relief to families who has 4 children or 3 children, or they can give a down payment, something like that gonna happen. And when it's gonna pull back, guys, 2008, what's happened, we had North Node eclipse and South Node in Leo and Aquarius. So we're going to have a crash on the real estate market the moment we're going to have actually the eclipses in Aquarius Leo. So that's for sure. All right. But when it's gonna go South Node to Cancer, then it's gonna be really down, really, really down. Because South Node in Cancer, it's totally crashed the real estate market. You will be able to buy for, if you have gold coins, for gold coins, you know, houses. And next time when it's gonna trine again or conjunct again, you can become a property billionaire. So watch for that.
So that will be like 2027 into mid 2028 when nodes go into pulling Cancer, representing for my students and people watching things to do with our home and our security and our nest. And the South Node is pulling the energy away, not towards. And so, so the downturn is going to increase even through, you think, till 2028, where prices for homes become much more affordable.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So in that time, but it's already going to start right now. So you will see some kind of amazing Saturnian governmental around the world, some kind of help from the government, right? So that's what is happening. Yes. All right. So what I wanted to actually talk about, it's we already talked about the BRICS, and if the BRICS currency going to be very valuable, guys, by 2028. Okay. So Uranus in Gemini also going to bring in more, and it's trining with Pluto. So obviously under volcanic activity, which is going to create new Earth. So for example, we're going to have islands from the oceans, you know, like coming up. But it's not just that. It is also borders, new borders. Gemini and you know, whenever it's happened between Taurus and Gemini, we had the Second World War. We also did have, for example, the Civil War in America. So it was also between Gemini and Taurus, back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So that's when we had, yes. And also when we had Neptune in Aries, and we had also Uranus going between Taurus and Gemini, we had actually the Civil War, the first one in America, which is created America. And also it was the Uranus return. So that's why I'm saying, guys, that it's going to be a Civil War, totally shift the whole entire economy. We are going east. So just be ready. Because if you're going to live in denial, then you're not going to be ready for the shift. And then it could create very, very difficult things in your life. But yes, so that's what's happening. And then I want to say let me see, so magnets, and I don't know how to actually pronounce it, just a second, because this is actually It is a critical mineral, and we call it, just a second, oh my God, uh, okay, so here it is. Brazil actually has 92% of this earth mineral. And it is helping with, like it's not corroding, for example. So that's why it's very important. And they are using it in space, rocket space, and anything to do with pipelines.
Mm-hmm.
And the chemical sticker symbol is NB, niobium. I found it, niobium.
Ah, niobium.
And niobium going to be, oh my God, one of the earth mineral, we're gonna use it for everything. It's not only uranium and lithium. Also, you have to understand, guys, for example, Gaza Strip has a lot of natural gas. It has over $600 billion of natural gas. So guess what is the political interest over there? Where we had actually the fire in California, we have 600 million lithium actually around the lakes. Okay, so you do whatever you have to, you do your research. I'm just saying, where is it deposited? And let's go to Venezuela, which is also going to be part of the BRICS. Venezuela owns 60% of oil, and it's not actually, it's a very thick oil, so 60% could become 160% if you are making it more liquidy, right? And that's why it's not actually a war against drug cartel, it's a war for oil.
Resources. Yeah, the resources.
Resources.
All war is a war for resources and money.
And that's when happened, actually, when we had Saturn, Neptune in the 1800s, we had also the Opium War. So right now they're saying it's the war against cartel, but Neptune also, what? It's oil and natural gas, guys.
Right.
So, and also fogginess and make you to be blinded. And, obviously, so there is like, okay, propaganda. Neptune is propaganda. Okay. So that's also the propaganda makes you to believe it is for something, but actually behind the scene, it is a totally. So it's not the drug dealer, Neptune, but it's going to be the oil. So that's what it is. Yes. And yes, finally I found it. I couldn't pronounce it, but niobium going to be significant rise, guys. It's going to be worth a lot of money. It's very, very rare mineral. And guess what? 92% of niobium in Brazil. The recent administration of the US put 50% tariff on Brazil. Brazil ended up to become BRICS, ended up to collaborate with Mexico, Canada, and China. So right now, we lost $20 billion on soybeans, $10 billion on corn, because of they are buying actually from Brazil and Mexico. So we are out. So it's gonna be very, very difficult for Americans right now. And they never really endured any kind of huge war. So they're not understanding what's going on, unfortunately, because I'm from Europe. Obviously, there we had communism. I know how to save money. I know how to, and a lot of people who are foreigners understand this, but someone who second, third generational, they've been pretty much spoiled and privileged. Let's say that, privileged. So they didn't have to endure anything like that. So it could be difficult if you don't listen. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. It can be really difficult. And, for example, the Neptune in Aries, it's a 14-year cycle, right? And at the beginning, it's going to actually increase the pharmaceuticals spike, then it's going to inflate, and then it's going to drop it. So right now we have like 5 months when we will see something around Ozempic, And it's going to crash because why? Because right now we have a lot of side effect and a lot of pancreas cancer related to Ozempic, right? And because of that kind of stock going to crash, obviously. Anything to do with Johnson and Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer's, why? Because right now we have Pluto Uranus trine and Pluto Saturn sextile, and when Pluto Saturn conjuncted, we had the C19, we had the vaccination. The sextile is bringing out the information, right? It's not going to be covered anymore. It's leaking. Pluto in Aquarius, training Uranus in Gemini. We're going to have a lot of leaked information. We're going to have the Epstein files, guys. Believe me, we're going to have it within a year and a half. We're going to have it.
Yeah, I agree that that things that have been covered up are being revealed, but I think a lot of it also has to do with the quality of Pluto in his self-declination. Instead of being more things concealed, it's more things revealed for the world.
Yes, because if it's out of bond, it can be controlled. That
Exactly.
is who is Jude who entering the waiting room? Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's somebody who was supposed to be in my class this morning for the Q&A who doesn't have a time zone converter. We'll just ignore them.
Okay.
I'll get rid of them. Okay, so this is exciting. And so, yeah, I'm loving this conversation. Wonderful.
So Saturn enters Aries, guys, okay? And then Saturn enters Aries, anything to do with steel. And anything, Saturn in Aries is material actually for guns, okay, steel. And that is anything to do with guns. And it could be something to do with the Heidelberg materials, anything to do with the volcanic materials, right? It is steel and concrete, for example. So that is also representing that area. And because Saturn going to sextile with Uranus, it's submarine technology. Because I told you guys before, Saturn in Pisces and Uranus is coming back to Taurus, creating a sextile. It is underwater or ship-related conflict. So in the ocean war or underwater war as well, representing. But it's also actually the technology itself, when it's sextile, it's going to bloom and gloom. So invest in something to do with submarine technology could be amazing. And Saturn also locomotive, and Uranus is the locomotive, not gonna go with oil or coal, but it's going to go with some kind of unconventional energy, and it's gonna be a fast locomotive. So check out for the stock market whenever something popping up like this. You can invest in that because those are actually really, really amazing investments. Yes.
Okay, that's great. So cutting edge new technologies around energy instead of the traditional is an area to focus on. Got it.
And especially, Lori, the annual solar eclipse in February 17th, when we're going to have the Chinese fire horse also. Obviously, the horse is really fast. Fire is very strong energy. The numerology one with the sun, solar flare, solar energy, everything is so fast. We also in a period 9 since this year in Feng Shui, and that is also a fire energy as well. So we are really in fast moving space right now. So you have to pick up with technology, learn every single day, 25 minutes or whatever. Otherwise, you're going to be lost. So I recommend that to all my clients and anyone, yes, because it could be. But, for example, if you want to invest in uranium and solar or hydrogen crossovers, also even in cars, as we talked about, you talked about that, and I talked about that also, the flying cars. Guess what? China already has flying cars. Wonderful. They just came out with that.
That's great. They're coming. Our flying cars are coming for sure.
Yeah. They're going to, and that is also going to be Uranus in Gemini, flying cars. Anything to do, because we also have Jupiter, gonna have Jupiter in Leo. It's not just gold, but also something to do with luxurious traveling. And because Uranus in Gemini going to sextile with Jupiter, right?
Yeah.
And we're also going to have a trine between Saturn and Jupiter in August 24th, 2026. It's increasing the market over there for gold, anything to do with luxurious entertainment, meme coins, and also it could be luxurious airplanes, guys. So we're not going to be uncomfortable anymore. So they're going to actually upgrade our flights. So I like that. I kind
Well,
of
I
like
guess the Dreamliner is going out and we're going to have the Super Dreamliner.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yes. Anything to do with surveillance or neurological implants. For example, prosthetic arms, guys, Pluto in Aquarius, trining Uranus in Gemini. Gemini is arms and limbs, trining surgery, prosthetic. We have a lot of bombing, people are
I
losing.
know. I was just going to say that. There's going to be a huge surge in the need for prosthetic limbs after Gaza.
Yes. And it's going to increase the values of that investment, just so you know, if you are an investor, yes, but that's what's happening. So that's actually the aftermath of the recent massacre. So that's what's happening. But also surveillance. Uranus in Gemini is surveillance and cybersecurity. What Palantir wants, obviously, creating a golden dome, it's not actually helping. I mean, I wouldn't say it could be safety in some measures, but guys, that is actually digital IDs and it is actually controlling us. So Palantir could be very evil. Whenever you're going to invest, you have to make sure it's your integrity and it actually suits your values and morals.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But yes, Palantir and cybersecurity going to go really high. Anything to do with nervous system. So we're going to hear Alzheimer, autism, dementia, for example, with chips. And you know, it's going to be great for a lot of people, but also a chip's going to control them as well. So, you know, yes, if you have someone with dementia or autism, obviously you want them to function well.
Yes,
But, you know,
yes. Neuralinked stuff that Elon is doing has already helped people move their limbs by using the chip to actually, well, no, actually using the chip to, like, someone who's a quadriplegic, using the Neuralink chip to have a thought that activates the cursor on their computer. I mean, it's pretty darn cool. But yes, there's also the downside of transhumanism, and at what point putting technology and chips into our brain, we're actually altering our spiritual identity as well.
And you know what? Actually, looking at Elon and the way he behaved lately, like total chaos and craziness. Actually, Jupiter also exalts him right now, the ascendant and the moon. You know,
I know. Yeah.
It could be that, but I was talking with George, with my husband, and George was like, Christy, he has to have some chips in the brain. That's why he is like totally lost it. He's crazy, and you know the way he behaves, but probably it's some chips, implanted, and it could be, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's got Jupiter protecting him right now, which is great. But on the other hand, yeah, he does seem somewhat erratic. It's funny because he sleeps at night with a dorje by his bed, right, on his night table. That's like a little thunderbolts of weapons of the gods in the ancient tradition, but it's used for personal protection, and that's a spiritual protective device. I have one as well, and so I still think there's some part of him that is a decent human being going through a very difficult story right now.
Yeah, he's losing it, but yes, he has cancer rising, so he's supposed to born, like nurturing. So that was original plan over there, and the transits and the progression could create something different. But yes, all right.
Yep.
So going to have, and we did have a historical gold rush also, when Saturn Neptune conjuncted. So we're going to have something to do with gold, obviously with the Solana soul. That's sun. Solana, that's the sticker symbol for that. So it's also with Jupiter going in Leo, and also the numerology year one, which is representing the sun, it could be amazing. Meme coins for famous people, right? Musicians or anything to do with sports, like Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Beyonce, they're gonna have meme coins, and it could actually, or gold coins, anything to do, coins with a sun symbol, crown symbol, or famous people could
Celebrity,
actually
yeah. The Leo energy moving through that.
Leo.
Yeah.
Also, the Leo symbol also, guys, it could
Yeah.
be really, really good.
That's great to know. Thank you for those tips.
Yes, so all right, so then we're going to go further, and we have to actually understand we're going to have the Uranus on the February 17th, we're going to have the solar eclipse, anything to do with AI, anything to do with cryptocurrency. It's going to take over. We're going to actually bypass regular traditional banking. It's done. With this starting eclipse in what is that, Aquarius? Oh my God, sometimes I forget words. It's going to bypass banks, and we're going to have more digital currencies and digital world AI platforms. But guys, I have to say something about ChatGPT. So ChatGPT right now, it's good, right? And obviously, Peter Thiel, Palantir, obviously, what's his name, Zuckerberg, all right, Meta and everything, and let's say Sam Altman, ChatGPT. However, I just did, and I'm gonna actually do my video right now. I did it, I just gonna post it with Sam Altman, who actually is a co-CEO of ChatGPT, and the guy, the 24 years old Indian guy who died on his birthday, committed suicide but before he ordered Chinese food.
Yeah, we all know he did not commit suicide.
All right. So that's because of that. I think ChatGPT going to suffer because of leaking information. So what's gonna go? It could be Venice, it could be Gemini, any kind of other similar platforms like ChatGPT, but other one going to actually proclaim the leading instead of ChatGPT.
Well, that's interesting. You should say that, because to me, sometimes, like you said, Solana, because of this, the Jupiter activation, of Leo, sometimes we're in like a simulation. It's like a cartoon, it's literal. So then they decide to name one of the, AIs Gemini. Of course, maybe they were looking at it from an astrologer's viewpoint, but with Uranus's like 7-year journey through the sign of Gemini, anything with that energy, the symbol, the word, the idea of brothers or twins in technology, like someone says, create the Two Brothers, AI program, I'd be buying it.
Yes, anything like that. Exactly. And that's why I said Gemini, because of Uranus goes there. And
exactly. That's why I was saying, and like Gemini should be like dominating if astrology tells us the truth.
Yes, and it does. It
does. So you read this slide. I'm just going to grab some water, so I'll be right back. But you keep going, and I can hear you. I'm just going to my kitchen. So
just go ahead. Go ahead. All right. So what's happening over here? Okay. All right. So anything to do with, for example, AI. It could be something to do with audible AI tools. It could be something to do. Right now, we're going to have the what is that? When you can listen through music. Oh my God, I forget again that word. But you're going to be able to translate your dog's barking, baby's cues. And, it's going to translate every kind of, for example, other languages. We already have it available on Amazon, but it's going to be very, affordable, and also it's going to increase on stock market because people are going to use that. Yes. So that could be, so the Aquarius, eclipse is going to make sure we're going to bypass traditional banking, and anything to do with AI and technology, flying cars, going to rise. For example, I'm gonna say some kind of crypto over here, which I personally checked. SMR, Rocket Lab, XRP, XLM. And also, if you believe it or not, silver has a stellium in Cancer, and silver also ruled by Cancer, and right now Jupiter exalted until next year, June 30th. But after that, it has a Gemini stellium as well, and Uranus gonna exalt the 4-point stellium. So silver going to be really, really good for another 7 years. And why? Because we're going to use lithium and uranium for good big rocket ships and space mining, and for the small electric devices like computer and phone, we will go back and use silver. So silver going to be very, very good for another 7 years. So silver investment, I actually tripled my silver investment since 2020. So I'm very happy for that, yes. And orange juice, for example. Saturn in Aries going to be also something to do with coffee plantations. Aries is because Saturn is coffee, and we already have the 50% of tariff for Brazilian coffee, right? So our coffee went up like crazy over here, but I see some kind of fire coming in for coffee plantation, and because of the demand going to be high, but the supply is going to be small, or some kind of virus. It could be also, right, Martian energy with Aries. It could create spike the coffee price as well because of the demand going to be huge, and we're not gonna have a lot of coffee. But also anything to do. Oh, and then let's go to the lunar eclipse actually in Virgo, for example, right? Because we're gonna have March 3rd in a Virgo eclipse. We're still in Virgo and Pisces axis until the last eclipse gonna happen August 28th on your Jupiter and my Sun, because we have Jupiter-Sun conjunction.
Yeah.
We form a hot, and we're gonna have the eclipse over there. Okay, we'll see what's gonna happen. But March 3rd, we're going to have the Virgo eclipse, and it's going to be the lunar eclipse, and it is the polarity of Pisces and Virgo axis, guys. So what is going to, it's going to collapse something and repair it, because Virgo is very detailed and it wants to repair it. But the lunar eclipse also negative. At first, it's creating space, it's taking out something. So it's going to repair healthcare system, right? Because 6th house, it's military defense also, and it's also healthcare. It's also the union, the workers' union, so it has to repair that as well. So there is going to be a lot of, social unrest around the world. And okay, Lori, I checked Europe. And I checked, I'm gonna do that with Astro Victor this weekend, a whole entire European collaboration, but I checked Europe, and Europe in April gonna be a hotspot for civil wars and everything. There is only 4 countries which going to have elections, but it's still, I see Macron has to go somehow. It's gonna be in France, Hungary. The shift is going to Magyar Péter and taking Orban out. Like there is going to be a lot of shift. Plus the NATO, it's obviously, American created, but it's in Europe as well. NATO is putting in $1 trillion next year to military defense. What do you think what it's going to raise? Obviously, anything to do with military stock, gun stock is going up. So I said, if you're morally okay with that, it could create millions for you, yes. But going back to here in March, anything to do with wheat, rice, food security, and famine. It's a lunar eclipse, so it could create famine or death from famine.
Yeah, the lunar eclipses tend to affect the people, the masses, more than the solar, which can be about the power and the leaders. That makes sense. Is there any chance with the Virgo energy connecting to the labor markets and the working guy and girl that this could also be some push towards, in some countries, a universal basic income because people are losing work from the AI world? Do you think that could be a part of that eclipse?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It also going to affect actually the crop disease of wheat and rice or something like that. It could also bring in flood on the rice fields and wheat fields as well. But disease as well, yes, it could affect the working union and the military defense. Absolutely, yes. Yes, so, and it's in the slideshow over here. Anything to do with Uber and DoorDash and, those kind of, it could be actually AI'd. Right now, you don't need a driver. You sit in and they can, I was just watching actually the Tulsa King. And when Sylvester Stallone got actually kidnapped with a Tesla and he just sat in the back and nobody drove the car, it was just programmed to go. So this is because AI is taking over and we want to have jobs, but obviously Pluto in Aquarius bringing in a kind of a salary if you are not capable to work, a basic salary. So,
Yeah. I
yes.
can definitely see like, your Uber delivery coming through a little drone that drops it on your doorstep.
Yep. That's for sure. Yes, that's for sure. So, and then we're going to go to actually, let's see what is April 25th, Uranus going to enter Gemini. It is exactly the same things that we were talking about, Microsoft, Apple, anything to do with Palantir, anything to do with Google, those are going to change. New platforms going to come up, guys, because of those one are controlled and censored. And also, Uranus in Gemini, trine Pluto, Uranus actually, it's representing anarchy, and it's also the technocracy as well. If you want to see ideology of the planets over there, or obviously what's going on right now, the Silicon Valley, they want to take over. Look who is owning the 1% of the population, what are they doing? It's everything ruled by technology. And if you believe it or not, go and listen. Tucker Carlson has a new 2-hour podcast with a guy, I forgot, Nick someone, talking about Kabbalah.
I just downloaded it to watch, but I haven't had a chance yet.
Okay, you're gonna learn a lot. And what is exactly Kabbalah and how they saw actually we are creating our own Grotex Golem, which is the AI, and it's going to actually have consciousness and how it can take over. Jeez. Amazing.
Yes, well, I have a friend who's in the AI world. She's in the back end at a major AI place. And we had a conversation about 4 months ago. And I said, my concern with AI isn't that we're creating an artificial intelligence. We're creating a platform of technology through which non-human entities can inhabit and communicate. It's not a actual consciousness we're creating. It's an advanced quantum brain for an energy that's disembodied, good or bad, and usually bad, right? To reach us. Yeah.
Did you see by the chance Ex Machina and the Westworld?
The show Westworld?
The Westworld is a series, yes. Just start to watch it.
You mean Westworld, W-E. Yes, I watched that whole series, of course. Yes.
Okay. And the Ex Machina, I am feeling like we entering that kind of zone, guys. It's like, oh, okay, we will see. Yes, but language, neural technology, that is actually Uranus in Gemini, translating with, with just, you have that, oh my God, what is this, what you put in your ear?
Earbud? Earpod?
Yes. And it's going to translate everything you already have available on Amazon, as I said. NVIDIA and NASDAQ actually is Uranus in Gemini. Everything is going up, as I said. And when you went to have water, I already told, which kind of SMR, Rocket Lab, XRP, XLM, it's going to really rise. Ethereum loves Venus in Libra, guys. Right now, Ethereum going to have when it comes out from that South Node Venus conjunction in Virgo, it's stretching, and right now it's gonna explode and it could go up even $1,000. So Ethereum could really significantly grow Venus in Libra.
So would you say that Uranus and Gemini then is kind of NASDAQ, and it's just a simple way to go over the next 7 years is just to buy an exchange traded index fund about the NASDAQ? Like, you know what I mean? You don't have to buy individual stocks. You just buy like, I'm buying the NASDAQ. And so if it goes up, you go up. You know what I mean? There's a name for that thing. Index fund.
NASDAQ and NVIDIA, yes. Anything which has technology and AI in it.
Right. Okay.
Anything, data analysis, anything. So if you see something, for example, I keep telling to everyone, and I'm gonna let you know, guys, I'm very close to the fire, and my friends, investors who are, all live in Jupiter, Florida, and connected. One of them created a database and sold it to the Saudi Arabian prince, what is the other one? Oh my God, the very famous city in the emigrate. Dubaian prince.
I read your mind.
The Dubaian prince, and for 1.6 billion, and I only put $5,000 in. My investment went up to 95,000. I can take it out in October 14th after the grand trial, and then when the IPO is coming up, guys, then I am able to put that actually in the same data analysis, because we're going to take our blood, put it on the computer, and it's going to analyze everything. You can have prone to cancer in 5 years. You have to, if you want to prevent that, what you have to do holistic you. This is the doctor nearby you. This is the teledoctor, like it's going to be amazing also.
Mm-hmm.
So data analysis is very, very, very important. We're going to have wristbands, for example, also, which is multilingual as well. So it is just going to, you put it on, and if you hear any kind of language. So right now, the big issue, Bad Bunny is going to play on NFL. I mean, I'm laughing my butt off, because I was like, come on, music is music. And I was like, listen, if we have that wristband, if you don't know Spanish, or, you understand, but music is music anyway for me. But yeah, so you can have that and you can invest in that. Anything to do with ETFs. Oh, I wanted to say something about ETFs. If you don't buy actually Bitcoin itself, right, the mining Bitcoin, if you do ETFs have dividends, so it is actually paying you monthly, 400, 700, it depends how much money you have to put in ETFs, but ETFs could give you a monthly income, guys, right? Because they're using your money to invest in the coins, and that's why they are giving you some kind of, dividend, which is monthly income. Also, I talk about Moonbag. Moonbag is like, so when you enter anything, you have to decide, are you going to do short term or long term? If you do long term, don't panic ever, because eventually it comes back. Okay. If it's short term, because you're playing with Venus, Mars, or, like, for example, Venus loves Bitcoin in Taurus, and Venus loves Ethereum in Libra, right? So you have to know those things. But whenever you enter and buy something, make sure you say, okay, I want to have actually 50% of profit, and I'm getting out because I want to get short term. And I'm not going to get greedy, because greediness is usually make you lose money. All right?
Yeah.
So make sure when you enter, you have a timeline. What do you want to achieve? And also the Moonbag is when you say, okay, anyway, I'm gonna keep in $5,000 in that. If you are having smaller amount of money, I understand, $200 in that. And Moonbag is whatever happens, I keep that in, and it's just going to be there, no matter what is gonna happen with it, because I can afford to lose it.
Right, exactly.
So that's very, very important. All right. So yes, let's go forward. And, with June 19, we have Chiron enter Taurus over here. And yes, so anything to do with Chiron in Taurus, it's something to do with burnouts. But, it's something to do with platforms like ketamine wellness. anything to do with beef. Like, for example, a lot of people, Jordan Peterson went to do beef diet and the wife because they wanted to heal cancer. At this moment, what I heard from Jordan Peterson, he was actually in ICU for over a month and he not able to communicate. He has a very, very serious issue. So I'm wondering if it's the only eating beef, nothing else could create it something which is obviously right now it's causing his life or health because he is in very, very bad shape. But the ketamine, microdosing ketamine, it's very popular in the US and mushrooms as well. And, it could create some kind of burnout, like the neurotransmitters in the brain. So it's burnout over there. Or it could be like can't feed or beefs, not beefs, but the cows anymore. So the beef market could shrink somehow.
Oh, interesting. All right. Because Chiron being both medicine and healer and those parts of it, meaning like, okay, more earth-based medicines like plant spirit medicines or entheogens to heal. But also there's a wound there. And we think of Taurus as the bull, like maybe our cows will turn out to be ill from some pandemic amongst the cows. You know what I mean?
I do keep saying that we're going to have actually Neptune Saturn conjunction. Could have a new virus coming in, not necessarily pandemic, but that is actually create issue with our vision, right? Because in areas that is the eye and ear, which is vision. So we might going to have a pink eye, but we are not seeing for a month, just blurry, some kind of things like that. And Chiron in Taurus and also Uranus coming back, it could create a mad cow disease, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it could actually, we have to kill the cows and the deers, for example, because they have some kind of disease. And Chiron is going to help to rebuild, but it's going to be a long time until it's in Taurus. And anyway, Chiron in Taurus, yes, plant-based eating, right? Taurus is the food that we eat. We're going to move away from meat because it's genetically modified and it's not humanly raised. It is like trauma and you don't want to eat. You're going to understand actually the vibration, Uranus in Gemini, of the animal. That's why I love Avatar. I'm a Pisces sun and I'm so mystical. And Avatar is for me right before you kill anything, you pray, and like you don't want to kill, like when you sacrifice.
Of course. I know I only eat, that's why I pay a lot of money to eat humanely treated, grass-fed, happy local animals. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you're eating like animals tortured and killed.
Yeah. And, their liver, if you eat their liver and they, for example, fed with, like grains and whatever, and the liver is toxic, you're eating that, you're going to have toxicity. So obviously, okay, let's go to Jupiter enters Leo. We already talked about this. It is going to definitely help with even, platforms where, for example, social media platforms, right? Anything to do, not necessarily Disney itself, because Disney going to have a lot of issues, but definitely it's going to help with new platforms coming out, and it is going to be good for the stock market. And, Jupiter and Leo, it's luxurious cars as well, Ferrari, like anything to do with those luxurious cars. It could be really Maserati going high up as well. And Saturn, Neptune also, guys, I forget that. Saturn is Chronos, Neptune is glamour. Invest in luxurious watch, anything to do with really, my husband is like totally crazy on watches, and oh my God, every single movement he tries to explain me. I was like, as much as I'm interested, as much as you're interested in astrology aspects, so let's not talk about this because this is just like, but luxurious watches, it's going to skyrocket. Saturn is antique. Buy antique watches, for example. It could be really, really great.
Exactly. Saturn rules that antique world for sure. So anything to do with tradition, luxury, lasting value, antiques, and glamour.
Yes, exactly. And also what I see over here, we can have actually Mars going to conjunct Uranus. And guys, those are actually terror attacks. And those are also something to do with nuclear powerhouses attacks. Somehow it start to have an accident and leaking, right? But oh, but I want to go back to Jupiter in Leo, luxurious brand, anything to do with Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, those kind actually could go. Versace could actually increase its values during this time. But Mars-Uranus conjunction is cyber attack. So when you invest, guys, what is the most important to be safe? Where do you keep your money? Not on Coinbase, not on, anywhere you bought it. Either you go to hot wallet. Hot wallet is when you're still trading, but it's safe because it can be cyber attack. But cold wallet, ledgers, those are the one where you're going to keep your money safe. It's not taxed also in some countries. I wanted to tell you guys, cryptocurrency is not taxed in Portugal. So just so you know, if you move to Portugal or if you have a PO box or an address over there, your crypto is not taxed in Portugal.
That's interesting.
Cayman Island also.
Portugal's getting better and better. You know something about the idea, though, of cyber attacks with this Mars-Uranus conjunction, right? Because you're highlighting that and using cybersecurity. Companies doing really well. I just want to add one more thing. There's a concern that when the supercomputers are creating with, quantum computing. The problem with quantum computing, if they get it to finally work and it's getting better and better and they're having less and less problems, is that quantum computing technology will be able to hack any codes.
Yeah.
There's no cryptography that it can't hack.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the truth. Yeah. Unfortunately, and that's also going to actually leak the data out. And if the data is out about, the politicians and shadow government, people are not going to believe anymore because then they are capable to see everything. So that's when Pluto out of bond, the power gonna belong from the people again. So yes, leaking of data, yes, it is cyber attack. But cyber attack also, it is leaking out all the data about also the powerful, and it's like a win-lose, win-win, lose-lose kind of situation.
Exactly. It's an interesting world we're heading into because there's so much of our technology that we rely on being able to crypto save it, right? Our crypto codes that we only know, like Tiger 8, 9, 10, 12, 8, whatever we created or whatever generated it. But, just the whole world, cyber attacks, meaning they're breaching the firewall. But if as soon as we end up with a quantum computing technology that's working properly, there are no unbreachable firewalls.
Exactly. But, we still need like probably 2 more years to have the quantum AI to work. And until then, you still can become,
Yes, exactly. We use the next 2 years while you can.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, very, very important. Uranus trine Pluto, July 18, guys. Anything to do with NATO, the EU, and anything to do with the US Department of Defense, All right, this is something to do with cyber attacks, working against cyber attacks, actually, right? So that's what's going to happen. We're going to try to, that is when actually Plantir and the Golden Globe actually could be admitted on the US, around the US. So yes, and anything to do with blockchain and digital currency as well, we're going to adopt to that, and the central bank and the recent currency is going to be over. So that's very important as well. And
quick question. Sorry, I have a quick question. Uranium, of course, we think of it for technology to do with nuclear technology, and I get that Uranus and uranium. I get that connection. But is there any other value that uranium has other than in creating nuclear power or nuclear weapons?
Well, uranium, we also use it for space mining. We also use it for rocket ships as well.
Okay.
So yes, uranium, we use that in technology itself, to building computers and things like that. So yeah, it's not only, like this kind of terrible power,
Right.
but we use that for that. Okay, where I am. Yeah. And yes, let's go to actually Jupiter trine Neptune in July 20th. So over here, this is going to be really good for luxurious market, and it's also good for medicines as well.
Hmm.
So any kind of pharmaceutical, and the oil prices and the natural gas prices also going to go up, and commodities as well, because Jupiter was that. But okay, and Jupiter exalted in Cancer, so silver going to go up still by July 20. As I said, it has a Gemini stellium, obviously. Uranus going to affect that positively. And then North Node going to enter Aquarius on July 26th, and the South Node is in Leo. Aquarius, anything to do with Tesla, Palantir, those are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and social media influencers, also tech dynasties. So that's what's going to rise. The rise of the AI going to be here because of also Pluto is in Aquarius, and eventually North Node Pluto conjunction within 18 months of that. Yes, it's going to be the rise of tech as well. So yes, that's definitely there for us. And then the Leo South Node, it's also Jupiter is in Leo, so it's bringing in some kind of rise of Tiffany, and like expensive watches and cars as well. But also slowly we're going to move away from TikTok, for example, from fame in the moment, because TikTok is like, I feel like it's like giving you some kind of attention spam. It is like short spam
Yeah.
memory or something like that, and we're going to let go of this kind of 2 minutes fame.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. The downside of Leo starting to like drain out a bit, that sort of look at me. Yeah, like no depth here, just all shiny and bright.
Mhm. And because of TikTok has been bought right now,
I
and
know.
I don't want to go there, what's going to happen in 2029 in the Middle East, but we can have maybe later on something about that. But because of that, it's also people are going to exit TikTok, and they're not going to use it. Also Instagram and Facebook. So new platform, look for new platform. There is going to be Jupiter in Leo going to create new platform, but those kind of old fame, it's gonna go away. So we're not
Mhm.
going to use either Meta. You will see it could actually decrease as well. So Facebook and anything else. Okay, and then we have July 20th also opposition, Jupiter and Pluto opposition. This could be, it is the power system. It is the new, the Pluto still the shadow government. Jupiter is a new government coming in. As I said, Neptune Saturn conjunction also could be democratic socialism as well. We're still going to be like amazing capitalist countries as well. Look at Sweden, Switzerland. They are all democratic welfare and democratic socialism. They live in an amazing country with the social system is amazing, and they still improve. So that could come in.
Absolutely. And in fact, those countries are not spending all of their money on military expansion. So they are
Yes.
giving the money that you give them as your, taxpayer to things you actually need and want. Functional roads, a good daycares, a great health care.
Yeah, maternity leave for mothers and fathers.
Yes. And
No
that is,
crime.
everyone's so afraid of socialism as if it's like a toxin in the United States. Well, it'd be nice to actually be taken care of by the people you're giving the money to make a functional community called your society.
Yeah, but you know what? Okay, Lori, I have to tell you something here. People are not necessarily informed, or how do you call that? Undoctorated, like when they intellectually lazy, perhaps they don't even know what is the political ideology means. They have no clue. They just repeating propaganda, but they have no clue about that. And I'm not talking about socialism. I'm talking about social democracy that is totally different, because there is capitalism at the very high level, and also taking care of the underprivileged and the mothers who has to raise their children to become a normal human being later on, right? Because that's what it is.
I know. No, you're preaching to this choir, but I get that, and a lot of times people are angry when I say I don't like to pay my taxes in Canada. I'm finding ways to I incorporate it, but in Canada, we don't have a functional medical system anymore. So that's just one example of where the money isn't going where it's needed. The government's spending it on things that most Canadians don't really care about. So one thing I think you're seeing with this, because we're going back to the astrology, Jupiter opposite Pluto, is Jupiter is going to bring in something new, some new leader energy, some new kind of system for governance, especially in Leo, which represents kings and kingdoms, and Pluto, when we're looking at July 20th, Pluto's not out of bounds yet. I don't think he gets out of bounds till August. So it's still the old shadow governments, the old ways of doing things.
Yes, and Jupiter opposed Pluto also, it could bring in new digital Cold War. So the war is also going to be on social media, obviously, because they want to censor us with TikTok. Who is actually creating Wikipedia or Google? Who controls Wikipedia, Google, and TikTok right now? This is a digital Cold War over here, and censorship as well. Yes, absolutely. And the BRICS going to actually push for the gold back currency, obviously, because of the gold gonna go and go to China. Yes. And then we're going to have the solar eclipse in Leo, actually, and it's going to be solar eclipse. It's something to do with pop culture ETFs, as I said. When what's her name? I don't like her, but
Taylor Swift.
Yes, okay. So her, or like famous people going to have meme coins, and things like that. It's short-term trades, for example. So careful with it, because it's not going to be there and available forever. So it's gonna go out of fashion, and new ones coming in. Yes. All right, but then we're going to have also that is the solar eclipse. Solar eclipse it's gonna be really good for gold, and also because we're going to have Saturn, Jupiter, trine Leo, and Saturn, Neptune, right, in Aries. So that is actually going to increase the value of gold and solar panels, solar energy. It's going to that one. Actually, by August, end of August, and we also have the Pisces eclipse, it could create, in a lot of countries, social warfare. It could create democratic socialism. It could create Mundani in New York to win the
Oh gosh, I know. He's on a tear. I think he's going to do well.
Yeah.
So this total solar eclipse, can I just ask a question? Because this is focused on finance, which I love, but a total solar eclipse can indicate for any strong Leo placement leaders in the world an eclipse of power, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is, but it is something to do with new power. So whoever was in already, it's not necessarily going to be there.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. Okay, thank you.
It's new power. It's bringing in very, very powerful, strong, vital, younger, charismatic, magnetic. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Leo moon, Leo sun, yes, but not the old ones. It has to be young, youth energy. Yes.
Yeah, well, that's why Donald Trump's 29-degree ascendant, I don't even care what degree this eclipse is, and JD Vance, Leo ascendant, his chart is the king in waiting. It's like they're all over the sky for him, that he will be in power before Trump's 4-year term is over. So that's an example. Yeah. Just sidebar on the politics. So I love what you've given here about watching for bull traps. That's important. Don't get all caught up in the excitement.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, guys. Then August 28th, we have the partial lunar eclipse in Pisces. That's what's going to happen on your Jupiter and my Sun on formal heart. So it is Archangel Gabriel. Okay. It is partial lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipse I really don't like. and I was a little bit afraid because it's happening on my son. But you know what, guys? It is something to do with oil spills or water issues, dirty water, for example. So we will see how is the water stock going to go down, for example, but also it could create some kind of new stock with flood defense. And actually, Norway and Sweden, they have amazing flood defense mechanism. And I believe right now, a lot of new countries going to actually do that. And maybe even I hope Florida and California, and we going to actually have that, because I live through a lot of hurricane and I have enough. I'm ready to move. I don't want to do it anymore. But yes, so that's what's happening. So it's something to do with flood defense, obviously, and also oil spill. Look something with oil spill during this time. And also the big pharma also going to have a lot of trial, and they're going to fail in trial. And also it could indicate actually some of the mafia or some of the cartel leader going to get executed.
Interesting.
So that's also
the Exxon Valdez oil spill. I think it was 87 anyway. Was it? It occurred during the Pisces Virgo eclipse axis.
I did have an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico in 2010. We did have, but it was just going out of Pisces.
I remember that. And I think the Exxon Valdez was also this Pisces axis. So again, so contamination of water is the theme.
Contamination of water, yes. All right, and the last one, guys, what I'm gonna give you, it's August 31st. It's Jupiter-Saturn trine. It is going to bring in amazing opportunities for us. So the market manipulation that's happened in February, right? And it's a 3 to 6 weeks very bad market when you buy in. And this time you already going to take profit out from that. Yes.
Nice.
So I try to give you everything, but if you guys want to buy my writes up for each individual sign, 150 pages, I'm teaching you. I'm telling you which platform to buy, what does month by month actually, when can you take profit, when can you enter the market, what does it mean, what is the historical parallel you need to watch for. It's gonna be on my website tonight already. I'm gonna upload it. You can download it. So it's amazing.
I'll be buying it. I'll be grabbing that baby for sure. Something, I used to be a medium-term trader. I left the markets after a while because I would dream the markets, and I would get I dreamt the downdraft of the tech bubble collapsing. I dreamt the markets, and it was interfering with my sleep in my 30s. But lately, and then I had a financial advisor who was terrible, and she did a terrible job of investing for me. I'm better doing it myself. So I'll be getting back in myself finally. And this is exactly the kind of thing I love to buy from you. So I'll be having the link also directly to those downloads when this goes on YouTube Live, and also in my Patreon community, who gets this early access ad free. So you have to let me know when that content is ready before I put it onto my platforms.
I'm gonna send it to you. Yes, and it's gonna be ready tonight, but I'm gonna send it to you. It's thank you so much. It's amazing.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have to say, thank you so much. You want to take the unshare, and I'll say goodbye to you face to face. Look at the tiny little face in the top corner.
Okay, wait. How do I?
Stop share. There's a little button that says stop share. You started it, so I have no power. You have all the power. I want to say I'm really impressed by your absolute detailed memory of certain dates and times and places. I work the same way in the same industry as you. I take my lion's mane with my coffee, but oh my God, your brain is totally amazing.
Thank you. I do have an elephant memory, and I do have actually Mercury in Aquarius, which is the genius, and and also the memory is so imprinted, and I remember everything.
That's incredible. You're amazing. So I cannot wait to get this out to my people. So I'll be telling you exactly the date that it's going to go onto YouTube, but also before that, my Patreon community gets everything early access ad free. I'm sure very many people will be very interested in what you've created. for the purchase product. And I thought this was such an intelligent and beautiful presentation, Krisztina. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Anytime you want to do another, I'm always up to it. So you just tell me.
I will. This was really, I enjoyed it so much. I love markets. I love stocks and stock markets. So this was for me as a former medium-term trader with some tech analysis abilities. I know what a head and shoulders pattern looks like. I use, that kind of trading tool. I just love what you gave us today. And so everybody remember, I know we'll have to put a little disclaimer in my box at YouTube. This is not your personal financial advice. This is general ideas of what you might be able to do. Neither Krisztina nor I are responsible for your financial choices.
Yes, exactly. It is on my written PDF.
Wonderful. And it'll be under my video anyway, that this is entertainment purposes only, but I'll repurpose the same statement at the top of my description box for this one, because it is ideas. It's not guidance nor specific to your chart or life. So
yes.
Thank you, my dear. I'm going to sign us off right away because I have another person I'm interviewing, Ren Butler of the Archetypal Universe, right after you. So it's a recording day for me. So I'd hang out and say hi privately. So thank you for coming. I'm looking forward to getting this out to my channel and to my Patreon community. You are amazing.
Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye for now, honey. Take care. It's been a long recording session. Have a wonderful financial story in 2026.
Lunatic astrology.